Mr. Nept. Are you there with me?
Yes, sir. I'm right here. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure having you here.
The pleasure is all mine.
So we'll just start very softly. We are not entering deeply into the political businesses yet. I'll talk a little about yourself. Now, you have been a very young person. You were brought up in the Abamago area. You went to the Chichalia preschool. Then you attended the Grand Bay Primary School.
That's right.
Then you went to the secondary school here in Grand Bay, not Roseau.
Right here.
Then you made some courses at the State College, which you did not complete it.
Right.
Then you were a professional. You worked with a taxi service. Then you worked with different firms, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
And now you are active in presenting the creation of websites for the members of the community and on the island on a whole. And you do also give technical maintenance for people with computers who are going through technical difficulties with their PCs at their home, so they can come to your business place. You have been doing that for a while. You are qualified in that, and you have put up your company in place to enable people to come and seek for their service in terms of computer servicing from your company. What is the name of that company?
Well, the registered name is Q's Computer Repair Shop.
Okay, so where is it located?
Well, at the moment, I'm operating from my home because there's not enough funding.
Okay, so when you say at the moment you are operating from your home, it's a company comprised of how many people?
Well, right now, excluding myself as the owner, there are two other employees.
Okay, so now things are just kind of partially coming in progress.
That's correct.
It's not as fully installed as yet.
No. Well, the whole idea of the business would, if I'd gotten some funding, which I did request, and I'm still in the process of acquiring, we would have at least 5 young people employed in the business. But for now, there's only 3, including myself.
Okay. So are you saying that Grand Bay is this service will be, your company will be located in Grand Bay?
That's correct.
When everything is finalized.
That is correct.
So, are you saying Grand Bay has the amount of computers in that will enable your company to sustain itself, its operations?
Well, I believe so. I mean, strategically, if you look at it, we're not just offering services regarding the maintenance and repairs of computers. We're also into cell phones. Unlocking cell phones and repairing and maintaining cell phones as well. And if you look at it, everything, we are in the technological age. We have the schools are all going into computers. They all have computer labs. At least I would say more than half of the percentage of people in Grand Bay own their own computers at the home. So
we'll be opening the line during the course of the discussion.
Sure.
We'll be asking our listeners to call 446-3207 if they would like to take part in the discussion. Feel free for them to call. Nep, you as a technician in this region, I suspect you were getting some feedback from the monitor which is located on that computer there. So could you please my son is coming in, technician number 2 is coming in, so he's going to cut off the volume of the speakers of the monitor on the computer, and the recording he's taking part of that. It's a pity that we did not. Would you like a coffee as well?
Sure.
Can you make a coffee for Mr. Packet Crunch? Thank you, my son. He's Crunch. Okay, I'm going to have a little coffee while we're talking, and then Nep is going to have a coffee too. You see, at Radio Bamago, it's a community vibes, and it's Abamago, Remember in the days of when we were going to school, when we pelt stones at mangoes and it fall, and those who run to pick it up, sometimes a little fight arose there. But Nep, now let's come a little more serious in the conversation. I know that the late Honorable Pierre Charles was your granduncle, and you seems to have had some reasonable discussion with him while he was alive and during his political movements from the very beginning to until he passed away. How close were you to the late Honorable Pierre Charles?
Like I mentioned in my last program with Masaba, he and I was not I would not say that we were entirely close. But there was one thing that he used to do, and he always did with all of us, and I would say that with even with Dewey's son. If you notice, all of us used to always be together. Dewey, his older son Shidi, and all of us, the young kids on the Alabama go, and he would always speak to us and let us know knowledge is the key. Get educated, ensure we stay in school, do our work. I mean, it's okay to lime, to free up, to sit by the roadside and talk, but then you have to empower yourself. He was always one person that would always mention empowering yourself to us.
So, Nep, if your late uncle Pierre Charles was around, would you consider of still being ambitious enough to represent yourself to the community, to give up your service to the community as an independent candidate, in spite of he would have been around still, and the situation would have been as it is? Would you still feel encouraged to contest the election against him?
Against him? Well, I'm more than certain if Pierre Charles was alive today, and in his capacity as he was as Prime Minister of Dominica, Grand Bay would be in a much better position right now. So instead of how should I say it? Instead of maybe the turn of events would be entirely different. I may not have been going up as an independent candidate. Instead, I may have been supporting Pierre Charles in different developmental plans. So the idea of going up independent came around solely because of the particular situation that the community is in right now at the moment, and I'm more than certain that if Pierre Charles was alive today, we would not be in this situation. So if I have to continue, I mean, Nept packet going up independent, you can almost see it as history repeating itself. As I did in a post on Facebook, I have made a forged links with Ruzi Douglas's son by the name of Cabral Douglas, who's also an independent candidate in the Portsmouth constituency, and that has brought up some particular questions on the web as well as in the different communities. And Cabral is a cool guy, and he somewhat has the poise of his father, Ruzi. Ruzi was always a down to earth person. If I remember him, always in Grand Bay playing domino with the guys, and Cabral seems to have a similar poise to him. The two of us have decided to forge links, and like I mentioned on Facebook, I see it as history repeating itself. You have the son of Ruzi Douglas, the late Prime Minister, and also Pierre Charles, his nephew, in Nept packet, forging links as independent candidates to move forth with the legacy of his dad, and my uncle.
What motivates you? What is the reason for you wanting to be involved? What caused you to be so, you have been using the internet very like Obama used it himself, and people tend to see you as the Dominica Obama, and people are giving a lot of respect to Granbarians for using the Facebook facility to do politics. And there are brilliant people who are attacking you, and those who are supportive to you, and all of this type of things. So tell us, Nep, are you saying that you sometimes sit down and think and saying, what trouble have I put myself in? No, this is coming to your mind?
Well, I don't really see what trouble I put myself in. To me, what really disturbs me is, how should I say it, the lack of information, or the lack of being informed with regards to my community people. I believe information is the newest religion, and I say that to mean that in this new age, you have to be informed. Information is knowledge. You need information, and that means information regarding your society, information regarding politics, whatever it is. You have to be informed so you can then make informed decisions.
No, we know that it is difficult for opposition parties in parliament to obtain some benefits from central government, because it's always a competition business. It's like some of the assistants, an opposite candidate or elected candidate who is on the opposite side sometimes claims that he or she does not receive assistance he has been requesting from cabinet or from the government. Because of his on the opposite side, he is unable to attract all of this type of developments for his constituency. You as an independent candidate, how can you be effective enough in parliament if at all chance comes your way and enabling you to be the pal rep? How are you going to achieve the type of development you'd like to see Granby obtain under your responsibility, under your leadership in capacity of a PAL rep, when your party or when you personally you are an independent candidate in the House? How can you influence the government independently to do things in your constituency?
Well, I mean, the government of the day has to realize that whether or not they win a seat politically regarding votes, the community itself, they do have supporters in the community. And apart from they just having supporters, they are also the government of the day, the government of the people, and not the government of just the leading or the reigning party. So they need to understand that they need to put things and put resources, whether or not the candidate that is the leader in the community is part of their party. That makes no difference. They have to ensure that the needs of the people are met. You understand? So it then boils down to the point where the actual leader in the community, in the form of the PAL rep, has to put mechanisms in place to push his mandate through. And I mean, one of those key things is uniting the people. You have to get the people, to come and to push through a united front for whatever it is that you're proposing, whatever developmental plans that you're proposing. You need to involve the people, get the people involved on all spectrums, on the left wing, the right wing, whatever it is. You have to be united in doing so.
So your personal claim, what are you going to ask for instantly as long as you are sworn in as the PAL rep for the Granby constituency? What are the projects you would like to see take place, or the immediate projects you'd like to see materialize in Granby? Can you give us a little rundown of what you'd want to see happening if at all by chance you become the next PAL rep?
Well, Granby has an undying need for employment. This is one of the main areas of focus for me, and based on my research, I've seen that the unemployment percentage is high among the youth between the ages of 18 to 35. And that is a serious problem because I mean, the people that are older are the ones who have been in jobs for over 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, 15 years. And you have the younger ones coming from college, graduating from college with the degrees, associate degrees, the high school diplomas, and they can't find jobs. So the unemployment factor in Granby is detrimental. One of the key areas I believe that needs direct impetus is agriculture, And I mean, I'm not just going to come and say, we need to do this in agriculture, we need to do that. Here's what. Like I said, we need to set up a mechanism. What I intend to do, first of all, I've already how should I say it? I've already started making way in that regard. I'm looking to set up committees. For one, I'm going to be setting up an agroeconomic committee. Now, this committee is get towards doing research and the collection of data regarding agricultural development plans. You understand? So one of the main things that committee will do is what we need to do first of all is to build on historical information, success stories, and market opportunities, and harness opportunities that are available with international donor agencies. You see, whereas everyone expects you to depend on the government, there are agencies outside of your country, regionally and internationally, that provide funding for particular projects that fall under the requirements. And the second thing, of course, we need info on the current land resources and other natural resources that can be harnessed for that purpose. Now, what this will do, this will enable us to find out lands that are idle. This will enable us to find out lands that are idle, lands that are under production agriculturally, and lands that are dedicated to housing. You understand? and also the current acreages on the establishment per crop and livestock. And it's only when we do things this way that we can provide the enabling environment for young people to get involved, because no young person wants to go back to those days like where, for example, their dad or their granddad just goes to the farm and produces fig, and those traditional means of farming. Farming has become a lot more technological than that. You understand? But before we go into actually implementing something that's going to derive economic impetus into Grand Bay, we need to first put mechanisms in place. And one of those mechanisms is with the Agro-Economic Committee. Yeah? And I'm already in the process of doing so. As I mentioned, there are some key people who are willing and able to provide their resources, and by resources I mean their skill set, into the whole organizing of this committee and the collection of data and structuring and whatnot. Apart from agriculture, there are also some other economic initiatives that I intend to push. Currently, if you notice, there's an agency called Caribbean. I think it's Caribbean. It has to do with climate change and eco-friendly initiatives. The gentleman, a rep for that organization, was on the news sometime past, explaining and giving information regarding funding to the tune of, I think, $50,000 US dollars for eco-friendly initiatives on the waste management, reusing and recycling management, and solar energy and energy efficiency. And one of those areas that I've already written a project in regards to this is with the reusing and recycling of specific materials regarding, for example, pallets, tires, spoons, plastic forks, tin cans, certain things that are non-biodegradable and can be harmful to the environment, that you can reuse and recycle and transform them into something that's going to bring economic benefit. The project is already written out. There's a draft that I have, but I'm not going to go into detail per se. But I'm looking to send this project to this organization, and to see how we can get this, if we can get this funded from the organization. Sometime, I think 2 weeks ago, I had an interview, myself and some members of People Community Development on Island. We had an interview with a consultant from the US, and he also mentioned the eco-friendly and the green economy initiatives. And this is someone we're going to keep in contact with. He should be back on Island in September. And we're also going to be proposing a project to him as well, for desired funding. So we look at two elements here. We look at economics, and we're fusing, economics with agriculture, because for me, any economy, the base of any economy is agriculture, in all extenses. In all, with no exaggeration, an economy without agriculture, you're gonna be a failing economy very soon. So we have to get back to agriculture. We have to get the young people involved in agriculture, because the older folks, too much times, the youth tend to think that agriculture is something that's not going to bring any benefit to them.
Okay, Mr. Packett, we know of Dominica has been very productive in the last 10-15 years. We used to ship our produce to places like Trinidad, Barbados, St. Kitts, Anguilla, St. Martin, Guadeloupe, and Martinique. Although we do still have some hucksters going towards this destination, but the amount of produce that we used to have is not as big as it used to be in the last 15-20 years ago. So how are we going to enable our farmers to get back as vibrant as they were during those days. And the market, because we understand now some of the islands in the Caribbean are also investing on agriculture, though they do not have the type of fertile soil that we have in Dominica. But there are some islands who may want to get themselves prepared that they might not need to import certain of our commodities that themselves will be capable of producing. How are we going to deal with that problem? Now, we also have guys like Mr. Reno Blaise who also export a large amount of produce to the UK, but how can Granby, you're really bringing all those points up, which is very interested to listen and to understand. But what are the type of mechanism that you're going to put in place to enable all of these things that you have as plans in your political move for the community? How are you going to put the mechanism? What are the things that are you going to put in place to enable that to operate smoothly?
Right, which is why I mentioned the Agro-Economics Committee. Because this is a committee that's going to be built around professionals, people who have PhDs in agriculture, cultural studies, people who have degrees in economics, and those are all Granbarians who are willing to put their skills on the line, their skill sets on the line, to produce something and to build something that is going to help improve the lives of the community.
So are you referring to the Granbarians in the diaspora?
That's correct.
So why should they want to associate with you and not others?
Well, they want to associate with others, but the difference is I've brought myself to them, whereas others may have not. You understand? And which is one of the main things, if you remember, that I mentioned, one of the main things in my campaign is to network with people both here and abroad who are willing to provide their resources, and by resources it could be in kind or it could be in their skill sets to the overall development of their community.
How long since have you been active in that move?
I would say from last year, October, December.
If this came into your mind?
Well, in terms of moving actively politically, yeah. But before that, I was active but not on a political stance, But
so you mean to say the status quo here has encouraged you to? is it that?
I would say that to some extent, because I mean.
So you're saying things are not that bad as people tend to believe then?
What do you mean, like?
I mean the situation in Granby, because when I say the status quo, I refer to the situation of Granby has not been improving. That's what you were saying yourself.
Yeah.
So are you saying this is one of the number one reason for you coming up?
That Granby has not seen improvement for years?
Yes.
Of course. And I mean, I have mentioned that. I mean, the kind of improvement that we're looking for, I only saw hopes of it when Pierre Charles was in power. Now.
So what would prevent his wife, in quality of power rep, not being as effective as Pierre Charles would have been if he was alive today?
Well, I mean, people are different. You don't expect everyone to see things your way. You don't expect everyone to share the same views that you share. And I cannot speak for her, but based on what I've seen, it doesn't seem to me that there's...
we have a caller. Let's see.
Okay.
Remember where you stopping? Hello?
No problem.
Hello, my boy. I'm calling from Guadeloupe.
Yes, go ahead.
My boy, I'm glad to know, you have the computer business, okay? I'm glad to know you have the computer business. I'm glad to know, man, I have the radio station in Granby, okay? But what I want to say, my boy, the people overseas, if you talk about them, I think they have to start it now to develop Granby, to do the things that have to do, and to move forward, okay? Not just say hello. Okay. Because the reason why, like you have the computer business in Granby, that's very good. Man, I have the radio station in Granby, that's very good. The others on them on the overseas side, what they have in Dominica, nothing. So that reason why I would like them to start to do like you all, not just talk. So that is why we have to give Justin a second chance to see what she can do for Granby.
Sir.
That's Wendy calling from Guadeloupe.
Wendy.
Yo.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So this young man, he's coming to give his service. So what are you saying? You are asking him to stand down and enable Mrs. Charles to continue.
Yes.
Why?
Because the reason why, that's the first term of Miss Charles, Justina Charles. Give her a second chance. Work with her and to move Granby forward.
Nep, what do you have to say?
Well, I mean, that is the gentleman's point of view. I mean, he sees no.
Well, probably you can discuss that with him and give him your perspective why he's right or why he's not right.
Well, I'm not going to tell you that you're right or you're wrong, sir. You shared your opinion and your views from your vantage point. But
that's her first term, so give her a second chance.
I understand, but from my vantage point,
we have to fight against her. We have to be her now to move Granby forward, my boy.
I agree, and I don't intend to fight against her because I don't see the political democratic situation as fighting against. I have my democratic right.
That's when they call him from Guadeloupe.
I understand, but I have a right as well to go up as a candidate for the general elections. What we should not do is we should not see these things in a tribal sense. I am not fighting against her. It is my right and my democratic right to go up as a candidate, and it is your choice and your right as well to support who it is you feel is the right candidate for your constituency.
Hello, Randy, are you there? Wendy? He has gone. But what I was expecting, Nep, in politics, when somebody really come with a point, as a politician, probably you need to speak to the person that you can influence the person to have the person probably changing his mind.
I agree.
And his mind might not be logic. Because he's saying that because of sentiment, probably. Maybe. But it's your responsibility is to go to the sea and fish and come back with fish.
I agree.
So why didn't you fish him?
I agree, but at the same time, but if you notice, in trying to fish him, he wasn't even giving me a chance to speak. So I had to sort of lay it in differently. You know, I mean, you cannot, you can only bring a horse to the river, but you can't make it drink.
No, Nep, what I've been hearing about you while I was in Guadeloupe on Facebook, that you are a very eloquent person, you're a very smart and intelligent young man, and you have the capacity of being a leader. I was speaking to a friend of mine who lives in St. Thomas, and he's saying to me, you have everything of a leader, but there are certain things that you may be lacking, and you need to associate with people who have a little more experience than you in certain areas, that you will be able to tap that and to make you a complete successful leader. But he's saying that he sees a great quality in you as a leader, not only as a political leader. You could be a leader of any other movement, but he sees you as a very qualified person to lead. Now, Nep, we were talking about the agricultural business. We can just stop there a little. Most of your immediate family are talented musicians. Your granduncle, Chobi of the Midnight Groovers, is one of the most genius that you can ever think of in Dominica's history. For over 40 years, continuing producing the type of original cadence which is different from all other cadence music. The lyrics, the contents, everything is completely original, and it comes from Abamago. We have to say Abamago is great, and you were from Abamago element. Pierre Chat as well, myself too, Andrew Coffey, and many more. So when we think, you spoke about you have plans for the agricultural industry. Now, what about the arts and craft or music and all that has to go with that? What what do you have on your agenda for that type of industry, and which of course we are very wealthy when it comes to that in Granby?
Yeah, well, some of the questions that you're posing are really on a national scale, but then from my vantage point, I think that the music industry in Dominica, the key players, they failed in forging important links and maintaining those links that could help boost the industry. You understand? And certain times you have to venture out of your, how should I say it, your comfort zone. You see, because we have see Mikkel, for example. Mikkel is wow, she's beautiful, and you find locally the locals here don't appreciate her music as well as our very own Midnight Groovers, Chobi. And I think part of the main reason for that is in Dominica, we don't see our own as being quality. You know, we don't see our own as being quality. For example, let's say they had to go overseas and produce their music, and they would see the people overseas on TV and whatnot, and then they come to Dominica. They are approached entirely in a different way, as opposed to the music originated and they try to promote the music from Dominica. You know, they don't get that kind of impetus and that drive from the people.
So would you say it's the leader, the elected leader, politicians, as a matter of fact, they have a level of influence over their constituencies. So if you are successful at the polls, what do you have to propose to government in terms? You said the question I'm asking is it's a broad question. It has to do on a national level. But Granby has been partially a republic by itself in everything that it does. So we and all constituencies have the PAL rep. So Granby cannot be responsible to take care of other constituencies when other PAL reps are appointed and vote to take care of the constituencies. And what we are doing here, when you're a minister, we can understand it's more of a broad portfolio where you have to take care of the nation. But if you're coming from a constituency where the assets that we have is agriculture and culture, and if you are the minister responsible of that portfolio, we have to excel. So what I'm saying is, what if you become PAL rep as you are independent candidate? I don't know how difficult it's going to be, but I know you as a guy who you've got the quality of knowing how to deal with other people. So I think you're going to be the friends of the ruling party and even of the opposition if at all you wins. And what I'm asking, and I would like to know, is can PAL reps help to change things around in any constituency if they are skillful enough to do that?
Of course, I would definitely like to believe so, because I mean, decisions you take impress on the lives of the entire constituency, you know, and there are certain things that you have to deal with a particular poise. You know, sometimes your response to one person can cause a ripple effect, you know, within the community, and can augur very bad for you personally as the PAL rep. So they have a lot of influence on what happens in the community.
So let's get back more to you. This is, you know, I'm so happy having you here as a young person. I can recall when Pierre Charles taught me at school, and after he left, he get himself involved in politics, and he was extremely young. In spite of I was extremely young myself, but he was a very young person when he get himself involved, and probably younger than you are today. And he became prime minister today. So I think with respect, we have to respect all of the other candidates and see how can we make things better for our constituency. And this is what you are referring to on most of your blogs on Facebook. I would like to ask you a very ticklish question, and this is personal.
As always, ManI.
Yeah.
As always.
No. We have to. Sometimes people want to know who. People know you, but people might not know everything about you.
Yeah.
I said earlier on you were employed and you worked with different firms in Roseville. How many companies did you have from since you left school, the college you worked with?
Well, I worked with British American Insurance. That's as a financial advisor for a period of about 6 months. That's an insurance company. They do with life insurance, health insurance, etc. I did after the course that I did with the youth development division, I had a 4-month attachment with CIS Enterprises, and soon after that I worked with I did a few more courses with the youth division. I did youth work, you know, with the Pali Creole with funding from UNESCO, and so I dealt with the National Youth Council on other projects as well, and a lot of community work, youth work. And then I got employed with Island Car Rentals. That's a car rental agency owned by Carl Nassif in Canefield. And there I did a stint of 5 years. After that, my position was made redundant, and through the whole economic crisis and the restructuring of the company, those are things that the companies do to cut cost. So sometimes they make certain positions redundant as a way of cutting cost, to help curb with the situation, the economic situation. So my position was one of those.
So after 5 years, a lump sum came with that.
Well, yeah, there was a small compensation package. It was very small.
Very small. Small as that.
But it was okay. It was okay. But
So what do you do actually for your living now?
Well, me right now, like you said, I started off my business, and but I work with my dad in his enterprise that he's been pushing for the past 3 years. That's Shewood and Guest House Restaurant and Bar. I assist in the management and daily operations of that business, and I'm also the delivery boy.
Yeah. When you say delivery boy, what does that mean?
Well, the personnel that delivers food to your home.
So you have a vehicle brings. If I need a meal, I just call you.
You just call and your food gets delivered straight to your house.
We may have a caller for you, Nept. Hello, good evening. You're on air. Hello, you're on air. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, let me congratulate Francine Barron and Nadia Paquette for the achievement. Wish them best of luck in the quest to reach the zenith. My question I would like to ask Mr. Nept.
Sorry, by the way, where are you calling from?
I'm coming from the UK.
Okay then, thank you.
This is Dave Bertrand.
Okay, Dave.
What's up, Dave?
Oh, not too bad, man. How are you keeping?
I'm okay, man. Doing my best.
Good. Just try, man. Just try. The question I would like to ask you, sir, is that what plans, I'm agriculture is my field, and I'm going to ask a question related to agriculture.
Sure.
What plans do you have to get the youth involved in agriculture again?
Okay. All right. Well, ManI and I just had a short conversation on that as well. And what I did mention, I mentioned the forming of an agroeconomics committee, which is going to be geared towards research and data collection in the field of agriculture. What we're looking to do first off is we need info on the current land resources and other natural resources that can be harnessed. And we need to build on historical information, success stories, market opportunities, and harness these opportunities that are available with international donor agents. Now, what this will enable us to find out which lands that are idle, lands that are under production for agriculture, and that would mean the current acreage under establishments per crop and livestock, and lands dedicated to housing. Now, part of the strategy is in collecting this information, we're seeking to provide and to do particular trainings with those who are interested, because we're basically gonna put out there the necessary information that we're gonna do regarding agro-processing, and with the research and data that we collected regarding the resources that can be harnessed, for example, bushes that can produce essential oils, that can produce tea bags, for sale and whatnot. We get what we first do after the research. We provide a short training or so with some targeted youth in the community who are interested in learning the technologies and techniques get towards that type or that kind of farming, besides just providing them with funding, and there's no enabling environment. So what we seek to do first of all is to create the enabling environment in Granby for that, and then we look at the funding initiatives, which is basically either put towards government or put towards those donor agencies outside of Dominica. Are you there, Dave?
Thank you very much. I might call you later on.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
If I'm able to get you line.
Okay.
No problem.
Sure.
Okay, Dave.
Sure.
Take care.
Have a good.
Right,
what time is it in the UK now?
It is about 10 minutes to midnight.
10 to midnight. It's
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
Okay then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the question, Dave. Take care, man.
Riding this big bike again.
So, okay, Nep, we heard of the PCD, and your political movement is not called the PCD. No, it's an NGO organized with people which, of course, you're collaborating with. And what is the purpose of the PCD?
Well, the original and the main purpose of PCD is to provide sort of a stable environment for the socio-economic development in the community. And one of the pillars of PCD is networking. You see, for too long, the people have not been involved in the actual developmental projects per se that are geared towards or brought to the fore by government or politicians alike in the past. So we hope with the involvement of PCD on a community-based level that we can get the people more involved and more interactive, in community-based projects, in projects inclined for economic impetus, whatever the case may be. PCD is going to be a neutral stance. You see, unlike let's say people might ask, but what is the village council there for? And those sorts of things. But the village council is local government, and it will be local government to any government that's in power. You see, and for most of the part, from my experience as a councillor, the village council cannot, and because of how it's structured and how things are, you see, it doesn't have the enabling environment for it to be a neutral organization. You see, a lot of things have to change before it can operate in that sense. And this is why my stress has been, and PCD has been working with me, because they know and they understand that they themselves, it has to be a collective approach, where with both Ghanbarians who are here and Ghanbarians who are overseas willing to do and push for the community are able to that extent.
Knowing that the political move, like taking part in politics here, it's a very expensive venture. Yeah. How do you go over in financing all of your activities?
Well, this is where we're at right now. I mean, in anything, even the major parties, the UWP, Labour Party, they all do fundraisers, you see. So at the moment, we are, based on my campaign, at the moment I am seeking funds. And anyone who's willing and able to put any kind of funding towards my campaign, they can contact me, and I can let them know how to do so. At the moment, my website is being built, and it should be on stream sometime by month end. The name of the website is basically my name, neppacket.com. You see, and majority of my
is it a liking page?
Excuse me?
Is the page a liking page or an ordinary page, like a common page?
No, it's going to be an actual website.
Oh, website itself.
A full-blown website.
Okay.
Right, www.neppacket.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and on there you will find basically all the information that can be exposed regarding my plans and whatnot.
So PayPal can be used there.
Well, we are hoping to do so, but I've been in my research. I've been told by a few agencies or a few people that Dominica is not, how can I say it? How they mentioned it to me, that we're not yet doing commercial payments via online means, where, for example, where you can pay for something online overseas and receive that money as someone overseas hosting a website, whereas in Dominica, I'm not sure why, but I'm hearing that they don't allow it. So, for example, I may not be able to do
receive money from supporters
online
by PayPal.
Well, the PayPal might be one way to work around it, because the PayPal now is basically an online banking system where they would provide the funds and it's stored digitally online. But then to acquire those funds to use, that is where the problem might be. Because I would need to be able to access the funds through an institution in Dominica, which is the bank, with either the card system or whatever the case may be. So I'm in the process of working that out per se. But for now, We have a lodge book, and anyone who's willing to provide any sort of funding.
So what have you received now from since you have been on?
Well, I have received funding from. Well, if I have to call names.
Okay, but you have received. You have received there.
Yes, I have received a few funds.
So you're impressed with what the amount of money that you have raised?
Well, the people that have provided the funding, and I say thank you to every one of them.
Are they locally?
Some local, some, but the majority overseas.
Okay.
And I mean, PCD Atlanta has been very instrumental in pushing that through.
How can one know how effective is your movement in Granby? We have been on most of the forums. We have been seeing how intelligent your supporters are in the forums yourself, and down on the ground here in Granby, how effective is. By the way, what is the logo and what is the abbreviation we have to use to refer to you? For example, we have to refer to the Dominican Labour Party as the DLP, and we have to the UWP. So how do we refer to you? Your not only your logo, but as well as your abbreviation, your initials of your movement.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm an independent candidate, so I'm not even a party at the moment.
Yes.
But if you notice, majority of my supporters on Facebook, and if you hear them utter, you would hear them say, "The time is now."
So
this is our catchphrase.
So the time is now.
The time is now.
Time is now. So it's TIT.
The time is now. You know.
No,
and
T. That the time is now.
TTIN.
TTIN. Okay,
Yeah,
I get it.
TTIN.
Okay, this is lovely.
But the entire catchphrase is representation for all. The time is now.
Okay. And don't forget, you can call if you have a question to ask Nept. Our phone number is 446-3207. Those of you in the diaspora, you have seen it on the link. I would be extremely happy to hear from some of you in the listening audience to call and ask Nept some questions pertaining to his political move. And Nept, people tend to say that you're a brave young person.
Yeah, I keep hearing that all the time.
No, I understood some of your true friends have left you down. They are not with you on the political drive as you were expecting to.
Well, they may not be. How can I say it?
They don't understand.
With as in Dufan Kotete or
Yeah.
in front.
Yes.
With the whole political movement, but they are supportive.
Okay.
They are supportive.
Okay. They will vote for you.
That's correct. They are supportive.
So, how do you see in percentage? Granby people, I think we have over 3,000, not even over 2,700 people
approximately
voting.
3,000. Approximately
3,000 people voting. Where, in percentage, what are you going to grab from the 3,000 voters? How do you see it?
Well, I mean, even now, it would be a little, how can I say it, preemptive right now for me to say that I'm going to grab X amount or X amount. But what I will say, there is a shift in the generational strata right now, where cycles are changing, and you find the majority of voters now fall within the age range of 18 to 35. You understand? And as I've mentioned before, this is where one of my main targets are, because that is where I fall. You understand? And these youth, they see eye to eye with me, and it is clear because they meet me on the roadside. They will tell me, even that interview I had with Masaba last Monday, the Monday that passed, a number of young people listened to the show actually. And they met me and they're like, yes man, I'm an independent too, and even if I don't understand what it is to be an independent candidate, and I would sit down and I would tell them, okay, well, this is what an independent candidate is, and we would have a short discussion.
In the amount of young people in the community, we know there are many people in your generation, people of your age group.
Yeah.
How do you see the support in terms of percentage? The young people are rallying behind you in percentage. How would you place it? If I know, just not, it might not be precise, but just a rough estimation.
Well, I mean, if the age is 18 to 35, which forms voters, which is you have to be 18 to be able to vote. If that age range forms, let's say 40% of the overall population, then I would say I'm somewhere at 15% right now.
For the seniors now.
Well, that is a tricky one. That is a tricky one, and that is where to me that is where the how can I say it? That is where the challenge lies. You see, and as I mentioned, the generational cycle. You tend to see that the younger folks can't really relate to the more senior folks, whereas you and I might be able to relate to each other. You understand, through the impressions of our generation on each other. The more senior folks, that is a little bit difficult. So I cannot give a percentage at now, but I have to say I have met a few and spoken to a few that have shown confidence in my candidacy and have told me, get up there, got some more.
Well, we have a person, two people in Guadeloupe who are going from my page who are listening to the show.
Of course.
We have Dory, who is in the USA, Dave Bertrand, who is in England. Mm-hmm. We have Merlin St. Louis, who is in Antigua. We have Ragodo Agodo,
okay,
who is in the USA. We have Roosevelt Ras Digital Packet, who is in the USA. We've got Tina Vital, who is in Guadeloupe. We've got John Lewis, who is in England. We've got Harold Green, who is in the USA. We've got Brian Benter, who played with the Midnight Groovers in the 70s. He was an organist, who is in England. We have Paula Del Sol, who is in Canada. We have Sonson John, who is in the USA. We have Mackie Tong, who is in St. Thomas.
Hey, that's my cousin.
Yeah,
man.
we have Spencer Benoit, who is in England. We have Fiona George, who is in the USA. We have Kaiser Eli, who is in Guadeloupe. And we have Tico Alexander, who is in St. Thomas. So we're expecting to see it grow. And we also have Paula Del Sol, if I did not mention, who is also listening to the show. Okay. And Nep, let's continue here. You are saying that you do not like the state of Granby. What is really bothering you with what's okay? Just explain to us what is really the problem in Granby that really gives you the reason to wanting to represent the constituency independently. What is the problem? Why? Tell me.
Well, I mean, I will start this off by saying I read an article a few months back pertaining to a study that was held in Granby by the CAES organization. That's Caribbean Agroeconomic Society, and in that study they mentioned that back in the 1930s, Granby did not know of the struggles that it's being faced with right now. It was a very vibrant community. The people were very industrious, and the people were not wanting of money. So that to me says that Granby was economically driven. You understand? And that's back in the 1930s. Now, why are we in the year 2014? Why are we in this deplorable position where the people in the community are basically living off welfare for all the social programs instituted by the current government? Why is unemployment so high? You understand? Why can I look at, let's say, areas like Portsmouth, Calibishi, and these communities in the northeast and the northwest, and I can see the vast difference regarding development in those areas? You understand me? These are one of the main reasons I'm like, hey, my community is basically, and I mean, for lack of a better word, we are marginalized. And I can clearly see that. I mean, you find it's okay to give Granby, let's say, a small concrete road, a span of road. Okay, I mean, I'm all for infrastructural development. But I mean, if you're looking at curbing and alleviating certain situations in a community, I mean, one of those things, how it is clearly seen that for the past 20 onward years that the governments have not been addressing unemployment in the community. You understand? There have been no projects get at economic impetus. You understand me? And I mean, that is one of the key things to help push development in any country, world. You understand me? Economics is the main thing. With economics, after economics comes into play, you have it deals with unemployment. It also deals with education. It deals with all the other things that fall under the spectrum that makes a community dilapidated. You understand me? And I mean, from a community, that has been vibrant in the 1930s to now, where we're seen as violent, unproductive. You understand me? Underdeveloped. Although we've had prime ministers, presidents, doctors, scholars all around the world, receiving honors and so in different universities. Why are we held at bay? You understand me? I mean, free my people, let my people go.
Okay, so Nept, we have Kenny Dover, who is listening in Kuwait,
sure,
and he's bigging you up. And we have Alexander, who is in the United States, bigging you up as well. They are very young, educated people,
I know
and
them very well,
they are all bigging you up and saying that they are listening. And he's referring to technician number 2, good in making coffee. Did you enjoy your coffee, Nep?
Yeah, man, I did actually. I did.
Okay,
I did.
Nep, we know that there are 3 candidates in this coming general elections. Now, you tend not to be satisfied with what is taking place under the leadership of Mrs. Charles.
That's correct.
And this is one of not the number one reason why you decide to render your service to the community as an independent candidate, because you're not satisfied with what is taking place under Mrs. Charles' leadership. Now, you've got Mr. James Alexander, who was the principal of the Grande Secondary School. Now, if there is a tie, this is a question maybe ticklish, and very troublesome, but I know you as a brilliant and independent thinking person, and that's why you are independent candidate as well. And you would have to suggest your supporters to vote and say you're standing down because you see you might have the candidates you would not want to be elected. If you continue, the candidate will be elected. And okay, as a matter of fact, if you do not have the chance of being elected, and the chance is in between Mr. James and the Mrs. Charles, where would you really ask the people to give their vote?
Well, I mean, if it right now, I don't see it boiling down to that point. Based on the information that I'm getting on the ground, Granby is very volatile regarding the political strata right now, and it is so interesting. That is why I mentioned the history seems to be repeating itself, because back in the 1980s, when my uncle Pierre Charles went up as an independent candidate, you find we were under similar circumstances, and he was saying similar things as I did. And at that same point, there were other people who were, how can I say it, running for the parties, the main parties over there then. I mean, Labour Party or the Freedom Party, who was the reigning party in the government at that time. And if so to speak, it does boil down to that, where I mean, I'm not at liberty to tell to force people as to where they should cast their vote. Like I'm saying, we're looking to inform people, educate people as to how they should go about deriving informed decisions and make the right decision under the right candidate that they see that can push the community forward. And I believe that Granby is at a strategic point right now to go independent, you see, because if we look at situations past and leading to now, I mean, the type of development that we are looking for in Granby, we have not gotten it for the past 21 years. And I mean, while we have gotten some how can I say it, some important impetus from the UWP regarding the high school that is now the Preachal Secondary, and I see 2 major projects basically that has done wonders, or should I say great, for the community, which is the high school, which was on the UWP, and the Bayfront, Pierre Charles Boulevard. You understand?
So you're saying the most reasonable development
Yeah.
in our
In our
constituency
constituency.
was done under the leadership of the United Workers' Party.
That
And
was
then
one, and then
Pierre Charles.
Right,
So
right.
where do you place the police station?
well, that I don't see that as
A form of development.
well, I don't say that I don't see it as a form of development, but I see it as, for example, you own a radio station, and you're the host of a radio show. You have to host a show. I mean, I'm not gonna just applaud you for just being a host. You understand me? But if you're able to let's say through your hosting change
Things are wrong.
things around in your community, if
Yeah.
you're hosting a show, then I
Yeah.
can applaud you for that.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
going out of your mandate. You
Which
know?
of course you're going to applaud me for what
Of
I'm doing here
course,
tonight.
Of course. Of
So,
course.
so you're saying that a police station is something that is normal, that any constituency can obtain, and don't look at it as any kind
Exactly.
of a precious type of contribution
Yeah,
to.
you understand?
No, it's something that is compulsory. It's a
Exactly.
part of the activity.
Right, I
So,
mean-
but repairing of the Loubier to the PHL Secondary School road, how do you see that one?
Well, you see, again, it boils down to the same thing. I don't see roads and those particular structures as key elements in terms of like where I should put a party on a platform for doing so. I mean, the government has a mandate to provide proper road networks, proper educational facilities, proper security. All of those things are under the
So, in
job
other words,
duty.
so why do you see the secondary school, which was implemented by the UWP, as a valuable form of
Well,
development?
if you heard me properly, what I said
Oh,
was,
okay,
was,
probably,
the,
okay.
was the two major things that I saw so far for
Okay,
the
okay.
past 20 years in the
Okay,
community are
okay.
those two things.
Okay, so how do you see the city of Berrico Grande? What is happening today, the drains and the resurfacing of the thing? How do you see that project?
Well, like I mentioned, I mean, it's something that was there.
Should be done long time.
I mean, should have been done long time, and I still applauded that the fact that it's been done right now. I welcome it, of course. Why not? I mean, Granby needs a facelift. This road has needed a facelift for more than 15 years now.
Some people do
Yeah,
criticize it. Where have you seen the weak point in that project going on there? Is there anything that you have noticed that you would like to talk about? If you have seen any critics that should be made about it?
Well, like I mentioned, I think in Masaba's show last time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what I did mention was to my knowledge. I mean, when you're doing certain projects, you have to take certain steps. You have to assess the information, collect data, and ensure you provide the necessary contingencies and backup plans and etc. before you just go through. I mean, we noticed there was a first phase that started, and then it took almost another month or so for the other phase, and then another month or more for this phase that's happening there right now. So I mean, where's the fluidity? You mentioned 3.1 or so $1 million being put into a project. I mean, I would like to think before you disrupt everybody's lives, as in the community, through the negative effects of the project, you have to ensure that those contingencies are planned for. You understand? So instead of just of doing things to maybe please the constituents or to try to appease them, before you start off, you have to ensure all those necessary elements are put in place so that the project can just go through fluidly and flow. And that is one of the main areas where I feel they're lacking in terms of implementation, and the overall planning of the project, so to speak. But like I say, I mean, anything that's gonna help the community, be it look better, provide a smoother, how can I say it, outlet.
Okay, we have
It's good.
We have Carlton Leslie in New York. He's asking me to ask you a question, and he's saying that if you would have received funds of a value of $5 million, from the foreigners, where would you invest it in Granby, in the village, or how would you invest it?
Wow, that's incredible. Well, like I mentioned, one of the first areas I would look to invest that kind of money is in agriculture. You see, because I see that agriculture has the means and the possibilities to provide a wide range of employment. You understand? Not just through the practical skills of farming, but also the theoretical skills. You understand?
So what about when people obtain personal benefits from politicians and that enables them to remain loyal to the politicians? How do you see that? For example, a house and the many other pieces of items that they may have received, not specifically from the Labour Party, but from any other political party in not only Dominica, but anywhere else?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I mentioned, in anything, there's supposed to be protocol and a process to follow. You see, that is why I never understood how, the Yes We Care programs and certain other programs, social programs, are implemented in the country. There's supposed to be a protocol to follow. There's supposed to be a set requirement, and there are certain things that you have to meet, criteria. You have to meet for you to acquire assistance. I would like it to be so which means that now puts it on an unbiased level. You see me? So if you, why then does it mean that to me influences the whole political divide? Whether or not I support you, I supposed to be able to get assistance from you. Am I only going to be assisted by you because I'm your supporter? Then you're only influencing and helping the whole political divide or the political tribalism.
So you want to say that the Chinese says, "Don't give me a fish, but teach me how to fish."
Yeah, and I mean, if you're gonna give me a fish, don't just give me a fish because I tell you that I like you. You have to be able to give ManI a fish too, just because he didn't like you. So ManI not hungry too then. You understand me?
The other thing I have suspect in our politics, if we discredit a person we believe that does not support us, you believe that's not weakening you as a candidate? Like somebody supports the UWP or supports the Labour Party and you are angry about the person. What you think a person as a candidate should do when somebody does not support him in the political movement? Instead of trying to victimize and criticize,
right.
What would you do in that context?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I've been experiencing that, so to speak, in my whole independent candidacy. I mean, one of the main pillars of my candidacy is to kill off the political tribalism that I myself experienced personally. And I can see others experiencing, members of my family, people in the community. You understand? No person should be victimized or marginalized because they don't support your party or don't support your creed, whatever the case may be. No two people will see things the same way. Everybody sees something from their own vantage point. You understand? But if you don't support me as a candidate, then it's still okay that you and I can have a proper discussion. You understand? And at the end of that discussion, if you're still adamant and to you what I'm saying does not make any sense, it's still your choice as to who you want to support and who you don't support. And it's my choice to either continue to try to get you to support me or decide, hey, this guy's not going to change his mind. Let me move on to the next probable person.
Okay, when Paul Alexander on Facebook says that your movement is the UWPCD, what does that stand for?
Paul is a very funny man, boy.
Because you have not answered the question that I'm still going to pose to you in a while in terms of...
Yeah.
But Paul is saying that you're a member of the UWPCD. And I don't know how Jerry Pampo Leslie sees that, Pampo is the one who hosts one of the most powerful forum on Facebook.
Yeah, boy. I dub Pampo as a political beast, boy. Pampo is a political beast.
You know where he takes his technique from? There is an American TV station there. He calls it again. I have a problem with remembering the name. But they have a parliament from the UK taking place there and many others. Okay. We have a caller here. See who's there. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hey, good evening, ManI, and
yes.
Good evening to your guests.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Very interesting program, and I've been listening, and I like what I'm hearing. However, I did hear Nept say he is trying to stop the political tribalism. Wow. My brother, Only in Kenya I've heard of what is taking place in Grand Bay. Such a small population, one people, yet still they're divided in all pieces. Now, Nept, I really don't know how you're going to do that, but it's a monumental task to even convince the people that you are on their side and you want a better future for their children. Yet still, it's with scorn, and they'll go out there and the likes of those that you mentioned who think that anyone who does not like what is happening, they are the agents and the haters of progress. Now, Nept, you're going to have to convince the people. The young people, yes, but I think there are older folks you need to talk to and let them understand, yes, they're in the 60s, 70s. Nevertheless, there can be a brighter future with their help to understand that the current government is one that discriminates. It does everything against the moral fabric that one government should hold on its people. They divide, especially the power rep you have in Granby. She is a good person, don't get me wrong, but she was plucked out by Skerrit at an opportune moment so he can have the numbers. These people, and I saw our power rep, and I thought it was disgrace when she jumped jubilantly on the onset of the win, the technical judicial win Skerrit got. I have the letters. He admitted he had dual citizenship. And Nep, I urge you to go ahead and articulate to the people in layman's terms, simple English, why this government has not been good to Granby. All the buildings and bridges and all these things, yes, we welcome that, but how about the meals on the table? How about the job they must go to? These are the things you're going to have to let the people know, and you have to say it loud. I mean, you don't have to disrespect Justina. You don't have to get in the gutter politics. You listen to the so-called Iglesia from Granby when she calls the next level. The papi show, the koshoni they go on with. You just have to let the people know the government we have in Granby that represents Granby has not done anything for Granby. What they are doing now is good, even though it's late, but we long overdue. Thank you very much, guys, and continue to have the program. I'm listening.
Thank you, sir, for calling. Okay, so Mr. Leslie just emailed me, sent an inbox message and saying that the TV station Pampo looks at very often is C-SPAN. you heard of C-SPAN?
Yes.
That's where Pampo gets his inspiration from.
Pampo is a political beast, boy.
So there's another question. You said earlier on, and the caller we just called said about you want to try to fight the tribalism political thing in Granby. Now, it was said to me that you block Paul Alexander on your Facebook page. Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
So
that is true.
How can the political tribalism that you're talking about, you're fighting against, how can that help by blocking a person who may not want to give you support or who says things that might not go your way?
Well,
would you find it's a democratic thing to deprive another member of the community on Facebook to communicate and give his points based on political issues pertaining to your perspectives?
Well, Paul does give his points and views on many other forums. If you notice, he's still on that forum with that Pampo started yesterday, that has almost over 400 comments going on, and Paul is very active in there as well with Delvin Castro and a few others that are very active on Facebook politically. I believe that I hold the right, like I mentioned, you can take the horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink. You can only do so much in trying to influence someone to see your vision or to see where you're going with certain things. Facebook is one avenue. That's my personal page. My profile, I decide to put the settings, the privacy settings, whatever the case may be, and to have it in my way. There are other people that I didn't block. I specifically blocked Paul because Paul has his own political agenda. You understand?
We have another caller here. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, ManI.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Well, I agree with Flower. When Flower say, well, that's the UWP CD, I agree with him. When the man talk about agriculture, my boy, agriculture, I can remember when I raised up as a young boy, carrying bunch of banana for 10 cents. It's I mean look to pour vocation ka connaître changer monsieur. Rap to take pour fourchette ka fouiller to fig. When the man talk about agriculture, what kind of agriculture the man gonna make? What kind of agriculture? You check what I mean?
Yeah, but what has the current pilot done for agriculture in Granby though?
You might tell you we're gonna take a fuck to dick.
Hello, sir. Sir, are you listening to me? Nobody's hearing you. Hello? Nobody is hearing you. Are you listening to me?
Yes, I listen to
Okay, when you talk with Nept, you have to listen to him, that you can exchange with him. You just don't go dominating the conversation. You said something, he was responding, and you were talking over him. So give him a time to talk to you. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was... Hello, sir. Hello. Are you there?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I like your enthusiasm, and I really enjoy... I want to enjoy a conversation with you for a moment. Let me pose a question to you. What has the current PAL rep done regarding agriculture in Granby for the past 5 years?
Her first term in office.
Well, 5 years is more than enough to make a stamp.
She need a second chance.
I understand that.
She's fixing the road in Lally. After how many years? No one never do it, my boy.
Okay, and she couldn't have done that. She couldn't have done that in her first 2 years that she was in office.
Okay.
She had to do it the last year before the general election, right?
Yeah.
The last year before the general election. That's when she had that. That's when it could be done. Couldn't it be done 3 years ago? It still falls within her 5-year tenure.
Yeah, listen. To build a school is the government that have to build a school. You talk about the road by the Pierre Charles Bill.
Hello, sir. You must not listen to the internet. Listen to your phone. You must not listen to the internet. Listen to your phone.
She is fixing Lally. She is working. So if she working, we have to give her a break and leave her do what she have to do. When we talk about agriculture, my boy, you might tell you, we're going to take agriculture and have a fork au fourchette qui j'en voulais crier to go and dig figs hole to put banana. I carry a bunch of banana for Galwa, 10 cents.
But if you were paying attention to the conversation, sir, I mentioned that it's because of those kind of things, those practices and techniques back in the past, that we're going to revisit agriculture and use more advanced techniques and use different methods that we can do in agriculture to improve the sector and to bring young people into the sector.
We're going to buy some new tractors. Well, I mean, we could bring agriculture, my boy. If we had to take a fork to go and dig figs hole, my boy, no.
Exactly, and that is exactly what the young people.
This kind of thing, you have to use a fork. No.
That is exactly what the young people don't want to do, sir. The young people don't want to go inside there and just use a fork. We don't want to go and just plant fig. But here's what: if we have an agro-processing plant in Granby that grinds the ground provision, the dashing, the plantain, the fig into flour, then hey, they will go and plant acres of fig because they know they can contract with the agro-processing plant in Granby and supply them with the raw material, which is the fig, the dashing, or the plantain, to be grounded into flour that can be exported to different countries and can be used locally.
You need water. You need to bring water, or like Wapo, or like Makato. It have all those things to do, my boy. With agriculture, it have a lot of work to do. Because other you maybe could come in Guadeloupe and see certain things in Guadeloupe.
That's good.
Agriculture, and they still balling.
My friend.
Yes.
We have arrived. We if you would like to make another contribution later, you can call again. Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your contribution.
You're welcome. Okay. So Nep, he was saying that
he's just helping our conversation because I'm here advocating, to bring back agriculture to the fore, but not with the olden techniques, but with the new fresh initiatives that are there that can get young people involved and bring back the sector as vibrant as it used to be.
Just to pass a little message to our listeners, for Roseau and environs, pretty soon we'll be on the 96.9, but now we are still on the 96.5. Pretty soon, probably by next week, we will be on the 97.5. 96.9 and not the 96.5, but all know we are still on the 96.5. And I want to recognize some people who have came in here. We have Teacher Carol George. We have Fiona who has came in. We have Johnny Karam, Joe Cam. And we've got Pam, Davy, and we've got James, and so many other people that too many names to call at the moment. They are all listening, and some of them are sending us inbox messages.
Nice,
but just to tell them that the phone number to reach us is 446-4207 if you'd like to make a contribution in that discussion with the young leader, Nept Packet, a very young man of a Bamako area, who is trying to see how can he give service to his community in capacity of a PAL rep. And I think the democratic right of a human, any person in Dominica, it gives him the right to take part in political businesses. And I think we have to recognize Nep and give him the encouragement as a young person wanting to take part in that business. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Can I ask the gentleman one question?
Yes, why not?
I am calling from Goodwill.
Okay then.
What differently will he do if he should be elected for agriculture, and what is he dissatisfied with at the present moment with agriculture? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
Are you going?
Well, he's gone already, it seems. Well, that is a great
Question?
beautiful question. Yeah, that is a beautiful
Very intelligent question.
And as we noticed, I mean, we've seen the shift of focus from agriculture into tourism, and I mean, there are some key elements that I see Dominica and Grand Bay. Let's just say I like to speak nationally, because everything affects us on a national scale. Yeah. That Dominica can get into strategically. That's going to help us in agriculture. For one, I mean, we have most of our farms are in certain locations where electricity is a problem. With getting to there. We have solar technology right now. As again, I see Dominica being in a strategic position to go into transforming our economy into a green economy. You understand? Now, like the last caller mentioned, I mean, if we have to go back into farming the way we did back in those days with your fork and pickaxe and those kind of things, I mean, that doesn't make, to me, it wouldn't make sense. You see? Now, but
because of the terrain,
I mean, not just the terrain. I mean, these practices are outdated. Yeah. And as well that the type of farming is outdated, so to speak. What we can do is build on those old techniques and use new technologies that are introduced. I mean, we see it all the time in the US. We're good friends with China. Why can't we exchange knowledge base regarding agriculture and those things? I mean, Dominica, the whole world is based on food security. We have I see Dominica in a strategic point, in a strategic location, a strategic place right now to go into organic farming. We can make agriculture is not just the products as in the farming produce. We have livestock. We have the farming produce, vegetables, the different foods that we can grow. We also have, in terms of, let's say, waste management, we can go into composting, where plenty of the waste material can be used to do biofuels. That's another green initiative. You understand me? So, I mean, the first thing that I would seek to do is to find the most cost-effective way to go back into agriculture. You understand me? And some of those things is by implementing and bringing to the fore fresh and new ideas regarding, and I like to stick to eco-friendly ideas. You understand? Because it's gonna be less costly to the farmer to have let's say 2 or 3 solar panels set up that's gonna provide electrical energy to his farm than having to pay an electric bill, right? That's gonna be on. Let's say you're dealing with livestock. You have your rearing animals. You have pens where you have over 1,000 fowls. Broilers, layers, whatever the case may be, and it's gonna be more cost effective for you to invest in let's say solar energy than you have to bring a specific power to you here, where your lights have to stay on at night for predators like snakes, etc. You understand? To help provide a certain level of security for your animals, and you're gonna have a huge bill at the end of the day while production is low. You understand me? So I mean, it's just a matter of looking at certain techniques and bringing in new technologies that's gonna enhance the sector, instead of going back to the old days. It's not a matter of going back to the old days at all, because the old days is not going to bring the young people in. But then if you bring in the eco-friendly initiatives, the solar energy, it means that's going to create jobs for anyone who's
Nep, when you refer to, when we see on the shelves in the shops, we see soft drinks, grapefruit juice, orange juice, and they're not fabricated here in Dominica.
Right.
And Dominica has been the soil for that type of fruit.
That is what I was just getting at.
Yeah.
That is what I was just getting at, because we've come from a country that used to produce to one who's hardly producing. You understand me? And I mean, Dominica needs to get back to production.
So we import more what we eat than we export.
Exactly. And I mean, we have the capacity to produce at least 50% of what it is that we're importing. You understand?
So what can a government do to change that habit of wanting to depend on importation to have us surviving on things that are produced on the foreign lands, and having very little exporting of what we do here? And as a matter of fact, I do not have it in figures, or what amount of exportation in contrast to do with importation. I believe we import more than we export.
Yeah, I mean, the last statistical information I think I heard on the news and in some forum that they had, I think Dominica was importing, I think, over, over six or so million.
I can remember when Mr. Savre was minister of whatever he was, and he said that we were importing meat and all of these things for in the region of, I think, 8 million.
Yeah, I mean the last time I heard, we were our importation bill was somewhere over $6 million, whereas the revenues we were collecting from exports was just a measly 600,000. We're losing money.
And we are exporting what we have.
We're losing money.
So what should be done? Nep, you as a politician, independently in the parliament, how can you make a difference?
I mean, the government, there are certain institutions in place to do what they call statistical reports. I mean, I think there's a national export strategy that's going on right now, where they collect data.
But what I'm saying is, what you're saying, that you're not satisfied with what is happening. Mm-hmm. We only export 600,000 worth of exportation. But you, as being an independent candidate in parliament, how can your voice create a difference?
Which is what I was getting to.
Okay.
I mean, before you speak, you need to have information.
Yeah.
You need to have information. You need to know what it is and where it is that you can provide the particular sustenance to be able to bring up your exportation revenue.
What I mean,
and
give me 1 second. Mm-hmm. What I mean is, in the house, is the eyes have it.
I understand. I understand. So this is where the work on the ground comes in. When you're doing research, it means you're carrying out research with people. So you'd be going to farmers, you'd be going to institutions, you'd be going to schools, whatever it may be, questionnaires, etc. Get towards collecting data surrounding your cause. You understand? So if you come to the government and in the house, and you're like, okay, based on 3 months research and data collection, I can safely say that Grand Bay has the potential to produce, let's say, X amount of bags of flour regarding, and I mean like flour grinded from fig, banana, plantain, the ground provisions. We have the capacity to do so. Then I would have the statistical data based on that information to present to them. You see, that is why I'm saying we cannot do things the other way around. We cannot bring a recommendation without knowing.
You have to make some research.
Exactly. We need to do research and data collection.
So in other words, you're saying you need a PAL rep to manage the affairs of the people, who is qualified enough to make research.
And I mean, it's not just being qualified, but who's adherent enough to go forth and do that kind of research.
Yeah.
Pull the people who can do it. If you don't have the intellectual capacity yourself to do so, you have to network with people who are able to. And those are the intellectual people, the learned people who have degrees in agriculture, degrees in economics, degrees in education, whereas you may not be able to write up a project yourself. And that is why I believe that too much focus or too much pressure per se, and I don't mean pressure, but like too much. How can I say it? They put too much into the leadership of the parliamentary representative, as in they now have to pull to themselves that they have to do everything themselves. You have to involve people. You have to communicate with people. You have to network with people. You understand? And those are one of the key elements, I believe, of leadership. A leader should be able to bring people together to help them achieve a particular goal. It's not a matter of you carrying all the weight. You understand? You have to be able to pull people. If you want an agro-processing plant in Grand Bay, you have to first be able to pull people who are able to provide the kind of knowledge, you understand, and to help you push through with that goal. You see me?
I read a post on the Pampo Leslie's forum on the Facebook, and one of your key supporters said that if at all you would have to stand down, that key supporter would suggest to you that you should mobilize your supporters to give their votes to James Alexander. Do you see that as that yourself?
Well, like I say, I'm not gonna stand here and be all pridey, have too much pride in myself, like, you know, I'm the only one. But I do see myself as the most capable one. You understand? To help push the plight of the community to the fore. But if it does boil down to that pride will be pushed aside, and I will urge, because I don't see how, and if we have not gotten the kind of development that we've needed for the past 20 years under this particular administration, I don't see how we're going to do it by giving the current power rep another 5 years. You know, so I would give my support to James Alexander. You understand? But again, it's a little more technical than that.
Okay, but if James Alexander would decide to give you his support, would you associate yourself with the United Workers' Party?
Well, I mean, lobbying is a key thing in any political strategy. You find anytime you're in a position where you're against a powerhouse, so to speak, the ones who are not, who don't form part of that powerhouse, they always have to lobby together. You know.
We know that the Honorable Pierre Charles has created a network which is a gigantic one, and he has left it in probably not in good shape as it used to be under his leadership. But do you believe Labour is still as a strong movement in Grand Bay as we speak?
Well, like I said, the generational cycle is shifting. And I think all the stalwarts right now, the Labour stalwarts right now, that has shifted, and the generation now that's coming into in terms of the power structure regarding the ones that's gonna form the majority in terms of voter counts, in terms of the ones who's gonna be influencing the furtherance or the movement of the community. These people are now, they're not. I would say that the loyalty is dwindling. The loyalty is dwindling.
For example, who are they? If they're public figures, we have no.
Well, I cannot put a name or anything to particular persons.
How instrumental were they before? In what capacity were they involved while they were active?
Well, I mean, in different generations. Well, I was speaking to my generation.
No, you're referring to the Labour Party, the technocrats of the Labour Party. They have been.
Well, yeah. I mean, I am not.
No, I mean it's politics.
Question.
No, what you're saying that when I ask you if the Labour Party is as powerful as it used to be under the leadership of the late Pierre Charles
in Grand Bay.
In Grand Bay.
Oh no, man, it's not as that powerful before.
Oh, you thought I was asking the question in the general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're asking
No,
the
I'm referring. You're representing Granby.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you're talking more.
I was speaking from a general perspective.
Okay. No. I mean Granby.
I wouldn't say. I mean, it's glad to see. It's glad to see that there are certain people who were stalwarts of the Labour Party who are now basically.
We have a phone call.
Who are now removed.
Hello. Good evening.
Hey, ManI, thanks
Yes.
for taking my call again.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Let me say to you, we have to give this young man, this bold and courageous young man, the kudos for standing up and doing what many don't have they do not have the courage to do, to stand up and represent. I know you've been asking him some tough questions, and he has shown he has the resilience in him. You may knock him here, but he'll be up. And I have to say to you, Nept, continue to do what you're doing. You have become a breath of fresh air to Grand Bay. Granbarians love to hide behind the doors and say one thing about someone, but in their faces they don't say it. I want you to say it in their faces as you see it, with respect. You will gain respect, and you ought to be respected. You understand me, Nept? You need to stand and say it as it is. Once you do not disrespect anyone,
Correct.
and you care less whether they think they hurt emotionally. You are not here in the emotion business. Politics is a tough thing. Grand Bay needs a crew to working in, and I think you are doing it. Now, at the end, if you see how things are going, you were able to tell ManI tonight that if it push comes to shove, and you really want that battle to be won, where you will be a win-win situation, you can get with the opposition, and you can do what is right once you get this Labour Party out of Grand Bay, so Grand Bay can see some movement. Grand Bay can see a jetty at Stowe, the development of the bayfront, a nice bridge, the Dubic Stowe area of nice. In the spring we have hotel, we have people coming from Martinique, just 30 kilometers from our south, to come to Grand Bay. The government will never do it for Grand Bay. So you need to continue and tell the people, you know who I'm talking about, helped to kill Pierre Charles. They gave him pressure. They did. You heard Papi Joe Leblanc said it. I did not. He said the people in the Labour Party, they are the ones who helped to kill. They brought pressure. They didn't kill him directly, but the stress, the backstabbing, the backbiting. Roosevelt Scarrett, you heard Mr. Ian said Roosevelt Scarrett is the kind of guy when he sits with you, as soon as you turn your back for a glass of water, he stabs you.
Sir.
He is
Hello, are you hearing me?
I'm sorry.
Are you hearing me?
I am.
You know that Nept, based on what we understood and what they have said in the past, this is your what you're saying about what has transpired in the past, and many people are aware of what you're saying. I heard that myself, and you're bringing that forward, but supporters do not want to hear that. I think what most of the supporters who are following Nept or following any other candidate, what they want to hear about actually is how can Granby move forward. The past of what happened to the late Honorable Pierre Charles, or what I can understand your plight, but what we are saying here at this time, that this thing is antique for us. And if you would have some solution, how can you help to have Granby moving forward? We would want to forget about these people with what they have done and let their conscience beat them if they have done anything wrong. But I think now we are not there for that.
I understand that, ManI. We have to deal with 2014 as it is today. Look at Obama and look at even right here in Georgia. You have to see it. The only way Granby is going to move on and have a sustained economy is by having a central government working with the local government, and not a government that thinks that in their northern territory in the northwest, that's where they should get all the kudos, and we are treated as the butthole of the island. You cannot do it with the village council. They have the mechanics in place that if you elect your village council members, they still come and they will tilt the scale. This is all part of this way they have things down there. So So you got to say it, and you need to talk about a government that has to do the bold things. A judiciary where some people will not be getting away, and the others who smoke a little joint, they are paying a whole lot of money and go to jail. And the cocaine guys are out there free. You need a government that will tackle these issues. Grand Bay alone cannot do it. And these are the pains of the Grand Bay people. We need an economy, but we have to start local, but we have to support a change for the overall structure that is now in place that burdens the poor and the rich gets richer. Go ahead, my brother.
Okay, Nept, would you like to say something to the gentleman? Go ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. I want to tell him a big thank you, for the kudos and the encouragement as I continue along my path towards my political aspirations. I still like to see myself as a nationalist, more than a politician. Because nationalists have community at heart, and this gentleman.
But sometimes the nationalists can be racist.
Well, yeah. Well, God bless the day that He made me who I am, and I'm not a racist man at all.
Do you agree with that, Agudo? Is Ralph still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to you.
But I think
I'm a revolutionary.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. And I believe that. And I believe that is what Grand Bay needs at the moment. Someone who's resilient.
Let me say to you guys. When I left Grand Bay in '69, I was 18 years old. Just done with the K-Pass and all of that. But I wanted to go to Glen, Rhodesia, and the countries in the frontline states in sub-Saharan Africa because I wanted to fight. So I wanted to go to Vietnam. Didn't have no visa. I even went and tried to get a Virgin Islands birth certificate to go to Vietnam, learn to fight, and to go back to Africa and liberate. And when I see what is happening in Grand Bay, guys, listen, all of that is part of my bio, okay? When I retired, this was part of my speech. What I see is happening in Grand Bay today, I cannot believe with all the intellectuals we have overseas, the so-called, we have the DAS, we have people who got doctorates, but you know what? They would rather say nothing. But when you are silent, you are as guilty as the perpetrators who bring hardship on our people. There's no question about it. They lie to us, tell us they're giving us a school. All these things you have to remind the people. Remind them, hey, you go to church, you pray, you confess to the priest. But how about the things God tell you to do? Support what is true. They're trying to tell people God Emmanuel set fire to his home. Would you believe that?
And Ragador, and I mean, Mr. Ralph, not to cut you short, but with regards to that school you mentioned, that university up in Center it is, right? The same area they put the highest All Saints, right? That's the same area they put the police station. I mean, the reasoning behind that project, that very economically driven project, not coming into Grand Bay was ridiculous. I mean, how can you say that the school pulled out because of violence? I'm trying to figure out now, the students go into the school, where do they come from? They come from the United States, they come from Pakistan, they come from Afghanistan, they come from all of these bigger countries where crime and violence are at a wider scale than in Dominica, much less for Grand Bay. So that to me is a very ignorant statement.
But let me say to you, to be real, the truth about it is, this Labour Party of Roosevelt Skerrit, what I call the Skerritites Party, they never intended to put such a school in Grand Bay because they always categorize us as nous sort, nous mauvais, nous desegua bemos sorti. Let me say to you, my brother, do not be fooled. I am telling you, it is a known fact. These individuals never wanted anything for Grand Bay, and I am so dazed and bewildered how these Granbarians are all in red, lockstep behind Skerrit, who is getting richer and richer with all his disciples and apostles, and the Grand Bay people get nothing? Come on, my brother. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, Ralph, we'll have to arrive to the end with you now.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But
okay.
thanks, man, I am sorry.
No problem. Take care.
Okay. Truth to power. Goodbye, guys.
Truth to power, man.
Okay.
Revolutionary.
So Nept, we have given you more than an hour, but the show is so kind of interested, and you had other commitments because you have to do some communication via internet with your team.
Yeah, but they're listening at the moment. Though.
Okay. So Nept, what really inspired, what really made Ralph happy is that you said that you would ask your supporters to rally with Mr. James if otherwise cannot be done. We have another person here. Good evening.
Yes, si bal boka répondre en créole parce que vous avez voulu comprendre créole très bien, vous parler patois. Bon nous que ça Alcendo l'autre côté a parler. Puis Alcendo bien ni bien. Alcendo pas ka promiser. Là il est à l'autre côté ici mal. D'accord? Allô?
Oui, nous là.
Oui, nous à côté où?
Nous là.
Ouais, bon nous Père Alcendo bien ni bien l'autre côté hein. Dis Alcendo pour combien d'années l'autre côté hein. Dis Alcendo descend. Ouvre business. À Guambé, ouvre business à Guambé, ouvre business Wozo. Parce que Ascendo, si c'est l'autre côté, il a dit ça, il voulait. D'accord? Il a dit ça, il voulait, mais dit combien d'années l'autre côté? Descend de Guambé, ouvre business Guambé, ouvre business Wozo.
Hello.
Oui.
Ou même ça vient ouvrir un tout.
Mais moi toujours là, on reconnaît Bandaï.
Non, mais tant ça.
Et c'est pour ça que je apprécie ou vos radio station Dominique. Mon content si mal. Ou un monsieur qui est vers inhibité computer en content. Ou comment vous voulez so Alcendo si c'est l'argent, dit descend si mal. Dit pas de gouvernement, dit descend. Parce que pays est bien libéré. Mais oui, il y a qu'à vivre si mal. Ou pas comprendre, mon si mal, mon gars descend sortir le palais pour ça, mon gars de où? Mon cas descend voter. Et savez qui? Mon cas vini vote all in red. Red shoes, red hat, red t-shirt, red pants, red underpants, red shades. Keep it all in red. Just see that. Labor power. That's when they call it from Guadeloupe. Ciao.
Take care, sir.
Ça c'est démocratie, hein?
C'est tout.
Do we have another problem with Wendy, eh? Because this is his democratic right to support his party.
Exactly.
And we at Radio Bamako will never cut him off, and we will not cut a UWP off. We will not cut a Papi right off. Anyone who calls, as long as you respect the people, you are free to express yourself.
Of course.
So,
no, man. I just want to say something regarding
What color should we wear for
Well, I'm neutral. My color is white.
White. Okay.
White is the only color you can derive
what is your logo?
Other color from there.
Well, symbol.
I'm not sure as yet. I'm still waiting on the electoral office to.
So your symbol for the village council was what? A lamp.
Yes, that's it. A lamp.
So if there's no electricity, we'll see light.
All right, but as I was saying, what I'm speaking to right now is it regards the question you mentioned. If it boils down to me having to put my support behind James.
Yes.
You see, I mean, you cannot just look at this as something where you just expect, people that support to just say, hey, we're going to go and support James. The support mechanism here, the people might say, you know what, we don't want to support James. We want to support you. So, I mean, if it boils down to that, what am I to do then? And I mean, that can be posed to the opposition as well. And I mean, we need to bring this to a point where the people involved that we're seeking to merge, be the merger of support, they need to understand where both candidates are coming from. So whereas it might be difficult to get all three candidates in a debate, I'm saying here right now on Radio Bama Go that Nept Packet as the independent candidate going up for the Grand Bay constituency, I am ready to debate anyone, and by anyone I mean either of the candidates, the Dominican Labour Party candidate and the United Workers Party candidate, on issues regarding the development of the community. And we can have this forum as grand as they want to, in the school auditorium or wherever it is. UWP, you guys can set it up. Hector John, what's his name, the leader, Lennox Linton, feel free. You guys can contact me on Facebook. I am ready, and we are willing to debate your candidate so we can see how this merger of support can come through or how it can play out. Yeah, I mean, you cannot just sit back and say, hey, well, United Workers Party have more support, so Nept has to stand down. Nah, I mean, support growing as the day goes, you know. I mean, it's easy to see that the UWP, bearing in mind that they are the only opposition party right now, in terms of there are only two major parties, the Labour Party and the United Workers Party. So it's clear that on the onset that James Alexander will seem to have more support, because there are already UWP supporters there, and the fact that he's going up for that party, he has supporters already, whereas I'm basically creating my support foundation.
Hello, good evening.
ManI se mwen kon, so
Yeah.
ite red bote ke vote bay, se ojen an te ke bay fos la.
Okay.
Te ke bali mem.
Okay then.
So ite red, me komi pa red.
Okay.
Mais ma blé Aïda, mon neutral, ma red, ma blé,
Dominique, tu pas di premier tour, mais deuxième tour.
moi mi-temps.
Ou ka se mon edou, mais so ite red, ou ka kon mwen kay vote bon novice, jeme wè, sa ti mal. Ou fou. Mwen kay
Okay.
vote bon novice, mwen kay vote ba blé, di ti sa jem se a so wrong side, e di wè toune red, mette red chouwa, mette red bite, anou bache devant, anou bouge devant. Point. Au revoir.
Yeah.
Ah boy, that boy is adamant boy. That boy is adamant boy. Well, my thing is, you see, it all boils down again to the political tribalism that we mentioned earlier on. And
But,
again,
you see, he's discussing the political, like what he's discussing there with us is not to say it's not civilized, but
No,
it's not
it's one-sided.
One-sided. It's not something that we can go and have a balanced argument. You know?
because his
point is already
he's fixated. And that's okay.
And that's we have all that.
I mean,
We have
he
this
has
type
his
of
right.
people in society,
Yeah, I mean,
so
he
we
has
have
his
to make
right.
room for that.
And this is one of the main things. This is one of the main things that my candidacy helps is seeking to eliminate or bring on a balanced scale. That you should not just look at it at the development of your community or at candidates as just red or blue. You understand me? You need to be able to look at this as what does the candidate have in terms of, let's say, personally, qualities, character, qualities that they hold, that's going to help push the community forward, firstly. Then secondly, how and what plans do they have to help improve the lives of the people in the community? You understand? And people might ask, as an independent candidate, where you're going to get the funds and this and this and that. Hello, if you're representing if you're representing the community, let's say I'm an independent candidate and I win the Grand Bay seat, and I have not gone to any sides, but I'm in the house representing Grand Bay. And then you mentioned that earlier. I mean, there are donor agencies outside of Dominica, regionally and internationally. I mean, how does the Prime Minister get help? Doesn't he go abroad? Doesn't he travel? Isn't there foreign policy? Isn't there other countries that help? You understand me? And I mean, whereas you're not going to do that on the same scale as the Prime Minister, you understand me? But you can travel to neighboring islands, neighboring countries, deal with different organizations that are willing to put funding to certain projects that you want to push. It all depends on how you propose it and how strategically you propose it to either the government of the day, you understand me, and either the outside donor agencies who might be willing to help you. And again, if as an independent candidate you have your people behind you and you rally your people and involve them in your plans, I mean, what else can the government do when they have 3,000 or so people in a community rallying behind their pal rep, you understand me, pushing for a particular project in the House of Parliament? They're going to be under pressure. Trust me, they're going to be under pressure. So this is how I view it. I don't see Granby as red or blue. I only see it as Granbarians, people in the community who are seeking to have a better life and who are seeking for a better standard of living.
So you were talking about, and a caller interrupted your response to my question, and I ask you how powerful is the Labour Party in Granby, and you were about giving us an answer to the question. Can you?
Well, I mean, as you know,
I know you have been making research, not only. You are making a general research on all of the candidates. I know you have done. I know you have done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to see. It's easy to see. I mean, for the past 20 years, before, let's say, from since Pierre Charles, was representing Granby when he won his seat in 1985 as an independent. I mean, people don't even recognize that the Honorable Pierre Charles, rest in peace, he went up as an independent candidate back in the heyday. His
that's
first
true.
instance in 1980, he went up as an independent candidate.
It was an alliance?
Huh?
It was not alliance?
Well,
You call it, I think,
the Alliance Party.
yeah, the Alliance Party. It was Afi Martin, all those guys.
Ah, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's so many of the guys. Well, many of these intellectuals, they were of
Okay.
that type of left
remember.
wing oriented.
Oriented,
Yeah.
And so how did he go up in 1985 then?
85, I think.
Because I
during,
swear
I think when Michael Douglas became the leader of the Labour Party, he was asked to join the. And the
but he only joined afterwards though, after he won the seat
no, he won the seat on the Labour.
in
yeah.
85.
Yeah, the 85, because
Ah.
in 81 Juliana won because it was Paul Alexander and Lawa who came from the same school,
In 1980.
political school, and the Lawa went out for OJ,
In 1980.
and Paul went up for Alliance.
Paul or
No, Piero went up for
Piero went up for
Alliance,
right.
and Lawa went up for
Right.
for the Democratic New Labour Party of OJ.
Yeah.
So after that, Lawa migrated, and then when I think the Alliance Party fell apart, and then Labour asked him.
Okay, but if you notice the trend here, I mean, Pierre Charles, although his organization was called the Alliance Party, they were basically the underdogs. You had the Freedom Party who was
Yes.
the reigning party. And
Yes,
then
yes.
You had the Labour Party who then split up.
And mind you, the Freedom Party was very powerful during those days.
Exactly.
And the people who made it powerful were people who were people of my mother's generation, people who were already in the 70s, the 80s.
Right.
After the Patrick John era,
Right.
some of the Labour Party just changed and they came to... So, but there were people who were loyal to Mr. Leblanc. So when the Labour Party came back with Mike Douglas, the Labour Rights rallied with Pierre Charles and plus the Alliance supporters.
Right.
So
And
here comes everything for Pierre Charles.
And I mean, at that time as well, you had a shift in the generational cycle.
Yes.
as well.
You had people of my generation
Right.
who were
Who were
rebels
younger and who were younger
Yeah,
too.
younger, and who
Yeah.
followed him. He taught us at school.
Exactly.
And we were all
Exactly.
inspired by the Marxism and all of these
Exactly.
things. Then Engel.
So you see where I'm getting at, which is
Yes,
why
yes.
which is why I mentioned history is repeating itself.
Yes. And
Yeah.
again, the blood is thicker than water.
Here it goes that you have a similar situation,
Yeah.
and you have the person in that similar situation being Pierre Charles's nephew
Yes.
of the same bloodline
Yes,
in
yes.
this particular situation. The
Yes,
only
yes.
difference herein is I don't have a party, you understand, but I'm still the underdog.
Yeah.
I'm still the underdog.
Yeah. So Nept, now we were saying that when Pierre Charles became the leader, the PAL rep under the Labour Party, he elected under the Labour Party, not under Alliance.
Yeah, under the Labour Party.
Under the Labour Party, he won. So he created a network, and that network was well organized. But the only mistake that he probably did not do is he did not have a deputy to say that. It's like
Someone who
swing.
would follow in his steps.
You see, it's not something. You see, like the Midnight Grovers.
Yeah.
Chobi and Co passes now. It's like
Yeah, that
Grovers
music-
is
that music is gone.
So you see the swinging stars. If the later man departs and some of the you see young people takes over, so the swinging stars still exists.
Yeah.
So there is this type of kind of thing there. This is why I referred to you when I spoke to culture, because the Midnight Grovers is supposed to be an institution that's supposed to remain for thousands of years.
True that.
We have to find young people in the school that can sing as Chobi, and Chobi trains him, and it continues with him, and he has the same. There are people like Chobi in the place.
Yeah.
There are many Chobis around,
Yeah.
but there are not incentives for them
Right.
to encourage them to take part. You know, like I find that, like Granby has been the cultural capital for Dominica for years, but no, we are not the cultural capital. People can say
sad
whatever
to
they
say.
want.
So sad to say.
We are not the capital. Pebush is much more advanced than
So sad to
us.
say. And I mean our parliamentary representative is the Minister for Culture.
Yes, well, that I do not know what is the problem, what are the difficulties she's facing, but I can remember even when Paul Alexander was active in Washington Dominique, he used to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And mind you, during the Feast of St. Isidore, the Isidore Feast used to be successful because of the village council elements. And the person who was behind that was Mr. Regis, Ed Regis. He was the one who would come to Radio and go for the live coverages. He's going to negotiate with the bishop to come and hold the mass. And from since he left, all of these things has fell apart. So the village council that was there before was probably criticized because of probably they were sleeping, and they were also pro-labor rights, and something happened. I don't know what happened, but when Ed was the public relation officer for the village council, some of the activities in Granby was well organized.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people, you can. He's a labor right.
Yeah.
But we have to give Jack his jacket.
Yeah, I remember that. And I don't see these contributions as being contributions from a party. I mean, he was.
Yes. He was a pro and a sincere Granburian.
Yeah. That's just how I see it.
Yeah.
I don't see he was doing it from a labor right perspective.
No.
From a
I don't think Mr. Ed Regis has the tendency of discriminating, because I've had some experience with him, and I saw that he was not in it for discriminating. He has his party. He's there to fulfill a mission. It's one thing that we don't do in Granby is to give Jack his jacket and give Cody his coat. Like, for instance, you as a young man, we have to admire what you're doing. We might not vote for you, we might not support you, but that doesn't mean that we should disrespect you or discourage you or try to make you feel that you're nobody, because everybody is important under the sun. And I think what you're doing there is really a great move, and especially when you agreed to say, well, if there is something that has to image has to happen, so there are some technicalities behind that, and there's some dialogue that has to be taken into consideration. And this is diplomacy. This is how you're a politician. You ought to be working on a political degree somewhere.
Yeah, indeed.
So we were talking about the Labour Party supporters during the technocrats. I spoke to Crispin Gregor once here, and he called them the technocrats, and they are not instrumental with the actual power rep. So the people who were there to help to put in place the network for Pierre Charles, who collaborated with him to put that network in place, they are not there anymore. They may vote for the power rep, but they are not as active, and they're not influencing nothing. So probably you have even met them to be your advisors. I am not too sure. I know you're a diplomat. You maybe have. So who are these people who were so active during Pierre Charles' time and they're not active with the actual power rep?
I mean, you have,
can you see who they are?
You seem more informed than me. I mean, I only know of a few. I mean, if I have to call names.
No, what I'm saying is I know all of them. But seeing that you're a politician, you are a young leader, I think you have. It's going to sound mediocre to see that you do not you have not made a research on in that context.
But I mean, you're not always at liberty to mention people's name and associate them with certain things without their,
No, but it's public, you can, as long as you don't say things to assassinate the character.
Right.
But if somebody was a member of the village council, like Chairman Sherwood was the chairman, who can take you to court for that? Was he the chairman?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Well, I know. Well, if you're asking just a general question, then I mean, I do know a few of them that were in the immediate circle of Pierre Charles and that were very instrumental in his campaign.
Why are they not there today? Have you made that research?
Well, in terms of research, yes. In terms of acquiring the particular information based on the research, not quite. I mean, I have met a few who mentioned their dissatisfaction, those who are willing to speak, so to say, and who've spoken to me in confidence, and who has also just in general applauded me for my move, and just mentioned that I remind them of Pierrot or that they applaud me on my efforts and whatnot. But in terms of being directly involved with the whole network, as you mentioned, I'm not at that level yet. I'm still trying to reach out to them, and I'm just looking at it to see how that can work out. Okay,
so you've seen under your leadership, Granby is going to experience some great change.
Of course. I mean, the youth element in anything is what brings about change. Youth represents change.
Youth.
Yeah, youth represents change. And not to discredit the elderly people. The elderly people were once youth. So which means if you're now elderly, your time of change, you matured from that.
So what?
It's just a matter of you helping the change that the youth have to bring right now.
We know there are many young people of our community who was hooked on some illicit substances, and Bounty Liverpool was trying to install an institution to enable them to rehab themselves.
Yeah.
And it has been very difficult for him. What would you want to do to assist Bounty, if at all you were elected, to enable that institution to take its...
I applaud Bunty's effort, man. I applaud Bunty's effort, and I've mentioned that to him personally as well. And I have seen news items on his particular project that he has plans for. And if I am elected as the Power Rep of Grand Bay, I will definitely work hands in glove with a gentleman like that. He's an intelligent man,
very smart guy.
He has a lot of experience.
Yeah, a
lot of experience. And what I like about him, he's a disciplined man.
Yes,
very disciplined.
Yeah, very disciplined guy.
You understand me? And I mean, a project like that would be instrumental in Grand Bay. I mean, we noticed that, and I mean, in most of the communities that are impoverished, you find there's a high level in terms of the use and abuse of drugs and particular substances. So I mean, it's a noble effort on his part to try to alleviate or curb that, mitigate that in whatever way. And I mean, if the government of the day does not want to help a project like that, I see they're not yet ready.
What about school children who are supposed to be at school and they are not there on the road, liming? How do you see about that? Have you thought of all this thing?
Yeah, I have actually. I mean, I went to school with certain people who I knew that were intelligent, and they dropped off. They dropped out of school for whatever reason. And I mean, any child should maintain, at least try to get a high school education. You know, in this world of today, you need to at least have a high school education, because the other forms of education can come a little later. You can go to college after you maybe work, if you don't have a college fund like most people do. You don't get a scholarship or what the case may be. I mean, the idea is to focus, give yourself a particular focus, and I think that is what we lost. And that is one of the areas where I believe the older people in the community have failed us, where the effort, like back in the days, where in your time when you grew up, we had that community thing where you would be able to correct a child. That's yours. You would be able to give advice to a child without the child himself looking at you rudely or you rudely, or the parent of the child herself, you know,
can come rudely to you as well.
It was much different back in those days. Right now we don't have that. I think that was a very conducive element to helping the overall community. I mean, those things can be reinstated, even if not in the same way, but through programs and certain things get towards merging and creating and loosening up that gap between those generations, where we get to acknowledge the older people and bring them, you know.
What about conflict with neighbors? Government tend to leave that for the court, for the when there is a case. Let us say your neighbor has a problem with you, no one comes. You have no kind of a peace committee in a place that can come and have a dialogue with Oki and Brian and say, okay, nous avons venu aujourd'hui, nous avons dit qui problème là, okay, il vient les bonnes moins, nous avons mis nous avons ça, whatever. So, I think that type of, all of these things we have to bring back some things that can remedy all of the tension that cause us to live so closely, but we are far away from each other at the same time.
Right.
And I think this is things that it does not cost. Politicians may not be responsible to put these things in place, but I think power reps can put little committees in place to enable these type of things to be well. Like someone passed away, we tend to be an expensive venture now. We can have something where that happy hour thing is something that was imported. So it is a very expensive thing now, and people are sometimes are crying for the loved ones not to die because they cannot host a happy hour.
Wow.
So, but I think all these things has to do with the change of the tradition, like the 9 nights prayer when someone passes. You have Miss Vic coming there. She's growing old. Most of the young people does not know that, and this is it might not be really a significant thing, but it has something to do with it, which is traditional, and it takes you back to the type of unity that existed once. But as you said, the world changing, but we cannot bring everything back. But I think the ballet we used to have on a weekend basis with Orion, Chim, Koi, next to next bill out there every Saturday evening, these things need to come back. I think the Ministry of Culture should take that into consideration. I think so many little things we can do to reduce tension, because economically things are rough with everybody. To help bring back that cohesiveness that was once in. I don't believe you're only focusing on the economic part of it and the social part of it. You're looking at everything in general.
Yeah, because if you notice, everything falls on the economy, because it's basically socio-economic development. They both go hand in hand. You know, you have a better society, so to speak, or a more productive society, if the area in question is economically inclined. You understand?
So, naming of the streets in Granby after some of our famous Granburians, have you any information to share with us about the finalized and the names that has been finalized to be given after the different streets in Granby?
Well, the reunion committee and the village council are still basically working on that. And what they seek to do was to start with, I think, at least 35 or so, 30 something names for the first phase, because there, I think, after information from Manchild Harian, who was the lead person behind that, he mentioned he counted over 50 something streets. I think to the tune of 54 or so streets. So it's not realistic now to name all, to try to produce signs for all the 54. So what they were doing on the internet, if you've seen, they just proposed a few names. I think to the tune of 40 something names, 45.
Where's the names on the reunion page?
The
website or
on the page,
on the Facebook page.
On the Facebook page. That information will be updated on the Granby Village Council website as soon. So at the moment, we have to review the list based on input from people. But then what they need to understand as well is some of the input that they have. Remember, they only gave like 45 names on Facebook, but the total streets is, I think, to the tune of 54. So there's a lot more names that can go in as well. So the first 45 that they gave, they're looking at rearranging it and then use the suggestions from other people as well to continue naming the other 54. What they were seeking to do, I think we had communication with Lime, who was willing to sponsor the first portion of signs. And as soon as that process is completed, I think they'll take the list to Lime and then they'll organize. But for now, we're trying to finalize the first phase, the first portion of names, and finalize that, so then we can then take it to the donor, to get the signs done.
So how is Leanthia doing at the committee now? She's still active?
Yeah, she's still active. We had a good meeting last Thursday.
So the good meeting, I heard you spoke about that link road from Hagley to Center.
That was a village council meeting for the link road.
So what the meeting that you all had? Was how many meetings have you all?
Well, the meeting that I mentioned on Facebook regarding the link road. That's a village council meeting. Right.
So nothing to do with the reunion committee as yet. No meeting has not been.
Yeah, we had a meeting Thursday.
What was it? What came out of it? If there is anything that you can share with us?
I mean, I did put some input on Facebook.
Yeah, but
I mentioned that as of now, there were some slight changes made to the reunion calendar. The activities for the calendar, and by slight changes, just a removal of certain activities that would not take place anymore, and then the addition of some other activities. I want to tell Taiko, your basketball game will be on, so keep training, Taiko. We're ready for you when you come. And Hilda Packet, who mentioned, who asked if Rounders will be on there. There's a day for the sports day. Oh, as you said that, I think I have it here with me. Yeah, if I can go, we have on the Friday, 25th July, we have the opening and parade event. That's from 2 p.m. Then we have Lapo Cab with Bullseye Street Jump Up. That's from 6. Blocko at Tetlale We look at the different bands. I think gentlemen like Jean-Claude and a few other musicians, like my uncle Roosevelt and them.
I think that this guy there he's in Germany. He told me they're Raskok,
they're looking at organizing for that event and some other events as well.
Okay, and there's a guy by James William. I think he'll be there too.
Okay, we have on the 26th a flea market and entertainment. That's with Miss Pascal and St. Jerome's Ministry. There's a hike segment 2 trail on the National Trail from 6 a.m. Snorkeling at 9 a.m. And then on that same night we have we were going to have Asa Bantan, but he will be out of state. So that's one of the areas where we made a change.
Okay.
And on that night we will have a jazz and arts night, and also, but firstly we have a youth cocktail that will be held in the youth center. That's with youth like Malik and that young man for Vanya and some other constructive youth in the community. And after that we have during that, I think that activity starts from if it's 8 to somewhere 10-11. We have jazz and arts night, which will be held at Shewutang, and that is sponsored by Shewutang and PCD, People Community Development. This is one of the events where we showcase jazz, and the arts segment of it is where we're going to showcase some cultural aspects of Granby, you understand, and put there on display, and also bring in those talented young people who do art, be it in the crafts, be it in the painting and whatnot. I'm currently working with Lachi Chi on I can't remember his proper name. Leroy, right. I'm working with Leroy on that, and what we seek to do on that night is to get try to have sort of like a small auction, with some of the talented young people's work, to try to get them, get some funds going, so they can be,
can have some incentive.
And some of them are doing some pretty good work.
Well, okay, lovely.
In terms of the painting, in terms of the art and craft.
Computer is with you also?
I'm looking to get him on board.
Okay.
Looking to get him on board. He and Lachichi as well.
Okay.
And computer is interested. He mentioned to me that he is interested.
There's another guy from Tetmon who he's a good artist. He draws very well.
Yeah.
Tall guy. He used to do Karen Mills. I think he's a Charles guy, he's very tall, clear skin guy. He does, Mr. draws sweetly.
Okay.
Makin draws well too.
Yeah,
and Darius Gregoire.
Right. That is one of the guys as well. Makin, Darius, those are some of the young people that are involved. And like I was mentioning, Computer has mentioned to me that he's interested in doing an arts class. Training to get the young
and computer is good, eh?
He is. He's a genius.
Yeah, he's good.
All right, so away from PCD, the PCD and Shewutang Jazz Night, we're looking to get Michael Henderson. We're still in talks with her, to try to get her.
So the jazz will be jazz music then?
Jazz music. With Michael Henderson and the band. We did that last year, and that was beautiful.
Super, okay.
That was super. On Sunday 27th, we have a church service. Everyone goes to church in the personal choice. Remember, we're just going through briefly the union schedule activities.
Okay.
From the 25th, we're now on the 27th. So Sunday morning, everyone goes to a personal choice, the church of their choice. After that, we have Champion Bubblers Breakfast. That's with Frida and them, the Bubble City crew. They're providing breakfast for people coming in after church and whatnot. Then we have a walk through through G-Tech. That's at the old factory down at Geneva. And that's with Hilroy George. Then we're looking at a TFAM culture pageant. That's Catherine Fontaine trying to organize that. It's somewhat similar to Tea Matador and those kind of things, but to the regional activities. We have Hagley Reunion Lapo Cabwit. That's at Stedelia Shop party from 6 p.m. On the Monday 28th, we have the reunion work day, where we try to do projects at different areas to get the people involved. It's sort of like a community day service kind of a thing. And then we have the opening of the Grand Riviere Biopark, a very instrumental project in the community right now by Jeno Jacob. And then that's at 12 p.m. And we're looking at the Economic Development Panel discussion at 4 p.m. That's with Leanne Fair Luis and JedF. And then at 7 p.m. we have Midnight Groovers Jam at the Aina's Mac Bar. That's a bar opposite from you there, Vibe Town Bar. Yeah. a young man again, young businessman again in Grand Bay, doing things, trying to improve his community. You see, we have a lot of young people getting involved in the business, in the private sector in Grand Bay, and they need the kind of impetus, to help employ more people, because the businesses have a lot of potential. Tuesday 29th, we have the seniors home visit. Visit our centenarians. So, and that's with the St. Jerome's Ministry at 10 a.m. There's a Prime Minister Parlrep Town Hall meeting at 4 p.m. The Parlrep is the one responsible for that. We have a history night. Grand Bay's history from 1690 to 1974, 8 p.m. That's supposed to be done by Manchild and John Holday. We all know him as Holday, done for pilot. Son's brother, Son the warrior. That's my boy. We have exhibitions at Old Fort from 12 p.m. Patrick Henderson, better known as Jockey. And that's on Tuesday 29th. On Wednesday 30th, we have a youth debate. That's going to be held at the Youth Center. That again is organized by Malik as well. And the other instrumental youth. I will be a part of that youth debate, but I may not be debating because they already have the debaters chosen. But I'm looking to be the moderator or assist them in organizing that debate in any way that I can. And then we have the awards night, another instrumental night where they're going to be awarding, people in the community for their contributions for the developmental process, be it in arts, in culture, whatever it is that they've done that showed exemplary efforts from them. They'll be getting awarded on that night. And that will be held at 8 p.m. at PCSS. That's at the Pierre Charles Secondary School. And then after that event, there's going to be set up what we call comedy night. We have some very funny people in the community. They're going to be given a chance to, give show their talents and their skills in the field of humor. On Thursday, 31st July, we have a hike to Dubic Falls. That's 6 a.m. Mr. Joseph Hideout. A hike to Pump at 6 a.m. Manchild. So I guess people can choose to go to either one. And then I see there was supposed to be a health fair, and that may not be taking place. I have it in red. Like I mentioned, there were a few changes, and whatnot. And we have the History Night 2, that's Pierre Charles Legacy, and I think that will be done by Willie Favrier. And then we have an Oldie Goldies night, dressed like the 70s, from 9 at Bubble City. That's the Frida Bubble City group, Frida and them. Friday, 1st August, Senior Citizens Tea Party, 11 a.m. That's the Canadian Reunion group. Champion Bubblers DJs Reunion again. That's at Bubble City, Frida and his group, from 10 p.m. And Bra from the Boulevard, 7 p.m. That will be done by the Grand Bay Village Council. Saturday, 2nd August, Wasin Dominic will be holding an activity. That's done by Mr. Paul Alexander. And then we're looking at an underground reunion special at 8 p.m. where Dowling Alexander will be bringing an international artist to the community. We're not sure who the international artist is yet, so we're not at liberty to mention any names. So look forward to that. That's going to be a big night as well. Sunday, 3rd August, Sports Day, Family Fun Day, and that is where the rounders and all the other fun games, Zing Zog, Zabat, cultural games, traditional games will be displayed. That's done by the Grand Bay Sports Committee. A pageant show, modeling Miss Reunion 4. That's held by Carlton Henry, the organizer for that. And somewhere along that same day, Sunday, so I think Sunday 3rd August, we're looking to put the basketball game in there, which might be something like a 4-on-4, or so to speak. But we're still putting together the schematics of that. Monday 4th August, Juve with Sakis, 4 a.m. and Kubuli Chebe Sao Day, 10 a.m. Dave W. James, Julian Packett. And Tuesday 5th August, the closing ceremony, which will be held There right now, I don't have the location where it will be held, but it will be coordinated by Leanne Fairpacket Louise. So that is just a brief overview of the activities that we're looking forward to for this coming reunion. From the meeting, we didn't get a consensus on to whether central government will be as to when we'll be getting any funds per se pertaining to the reunion activities. It's still as is. We were told that by the Parliament that no funding agency, no sponsor is going to give you funds. How can I say it? 2 months or 3 months before the event. They always give it to you closer to the event. Which has some truth to it, but then at least I was expecting that we would have gotten a consensus that hey, you are going to get funds, but just a little closer will let you know how much funds that you're going to get, and this is what we did not see at the meeting. So that's why I mentioned on Facebook that it remained the same as to whether or not we will be getting funds. But what we did have a very fruitful meeting. That was one of the meetings where I saw that we went through the agenda and we went through the different particulars and specifics in the meeting that were discussed and discussed them fluently and fluidly, and as united as ever. So that was good on the part of everyone present at the meeting, and there was an abrupt display earlier on, but I will not speak to that. I believe everyone has a right to speak to what they think troubles them, but I still believe it could have been uttered differently or said differently, but that again is a different issue. I will leave it at that for now.
So you were saying somebody created a bad feeling at the ending of the meeting?
No, not a bad feeling at the ending, but a bitter taste in the beginning.
For example, it's a grumpy thing.
The pointing of fingers, the yelling, the.
So who is responsible for such a behavior?
Well,
is it you?
Most definitely not me. I'm too joyful. Well, I guess the Parliament was disgruntled as to our Facebook antics, regarding what we were putting on Facebook, and she was a bit upset, and she displayed that. As to how she displayed it, to me was rather unfitting of a leader. I feel she could have passed on the message in a more
civilized manner, you mean?
In a more professional manner. In a more professional manner.
She probably was.
We're all at we to
but
speak on issues.
She has a challenge and responsibility. Sometimes
and that's why
she's exhausted. The
stress may be.
So we have to excuse her for that.
No, well, not necessarily, because you have to you go into something knowing what to expect. In a sense, you have to prepare yourself for certain things. So, that would give her the right to just take at anybody's neck anywhere, now you have to know how to deal with certain things. You understand me? You have to know how to deal with the pressures of your job, and that's what comes with the job. You will be pressured.
So you're paid for that?
You will. No, not me.
So you are paid to do a job, but you have to do it, and you have to make room for everything.
Right.
If you get a security job and somebody's coming to create problem in the job, you can easily be hurt.
You have to make room for that. You have to make room for that. But like I said, we had a fruitful meeting.
Yeah.
On both counts, on by everybody.
So in other words, when the PAL rep pointed her finger, was it directed at you?
No, it wasn't.
But you have been on Facebook yourself.
Exactly. It wasn't at me at all.
So who are the other people who are on Facebook?
It wasn't at me at all.
Who are the other counselors there on Facebook? I think you're the only one.
Anyway, I will just leave it at that for now for particular reasons. But it's okay. It's okay because the nice thing is at the end of it, the coordinator handled the situation very nicely. I have to say she's very professional on that.
The coordinator is who?
Leanne Fairpacket.
Okay.
She handled
skillful woman.
And everyone at the meeting handled it very nicely, and that is what I'm very appreciative of. Everybody, including the Val rep, after it was done, everything was handled very nicely. So I appreciate the fact that everyone came to a consensus that this is bigger than us, and we have to get to the point where.
So did you shake hands?
Well, no, we never shook hands. It wasn't a matter of getting to that point. I mean, people were just expressing.
I mean, after the end of the meeting, people say bye and no, as
yeah,
officials.
well, now we've never gotten to that
Close.
consensus,
Ah,
that
okay.
consensus where everyone shakes hands.
Ah, okay,
I mean,
okay.
We greet each other good night.
It's okay,
And, okay,
yeah.
well, good night was a fruitful meeting. Anyway,
Okay.
everybody take care. You know.
Yeah, okay,
Usual greetings.
Okay.
Usual greetings. That's fine by me.
Oh, boy.
But we had a fruitful meeting, man, I have to say, and I'm looking forward to the next one, because I mean we're sent out there to delegated to do particular things, and I'm hoping that when we come back to the table to meet again.
So, in other words, you're
those
saying
things.
that the PAREP is looking for sponsorship for the reunion,
Well, what
and
we
government
can-
has not really say they would.
Well, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that she did not give any information pertaining, any satisfactory information to me pertaining to government actually giving anything to the reunion activities. You see, that is what troubled me. And secondly, like I'm saying is, I mean, for something like that, of that magnitude in the community, we need to at least have a consensus.
So if
Where you're going to say, well, you know what, as your pal rep, the government, I spoke to the government, and the government is going to provide you with funding, but here's what, I will let you know in the next month, it will happen later down,
Okay.
or we're looking to give you X amount, but we're still trying to, something of that
Okay,
sort, but
okay.
we're just not hearing anything.
okay,
We're just not hearing anything.
okay,
But what we are going to do though to try to mitigate those things with regards to the activities we have to pull off before the actual reunion, we're going on a fundraising drive, and I mean she did start one of those fundraising drives, whereas with the raffling of a cell phone, and I think she mentioned she has collected I think about $900 or so through the raffles, the sales of the tickets.
and where's the money?
That will be put to the reunions.
Okay,
committees
so the
and-
reunion has an account.
Yeah, there's an account.
So the money is already on the account.
Well, based on the meeting, it was supposed to be placed on the account.
Okay, so let me ask you, who manages the account?
Well, there's a treasurer set up for that,
Okay,
and there's I think three signatories.
okay.
That has to
And who are they?
Before, we have Rabel, Julian Paquet, and the coordinator,
Mrs.
Leanne
Luis.
Yeah,
Okay, well organized.
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Okay, so you're saying that we're going to have a fruitful reunion
Well, I like to look at the positive sides. I'm going to say yes. We are going to.
based on what
Yeah,
transpired
based
in
on
the
the
meeting.
meeting. Yes. I'm looking forward to having a fruitful reunion. Yeah, man.
Okay, so the meeting of saying that when on Facebook that there was a special reunion at Hagley, and Hagley received money, and was that just rumor?
Well, it seems that way. Well, like I mentioned, I mean, if whether or not they received it, I mean, it is not supposed to be something that we just hear. I mean, you as the power rep or whoever it is providing those funding, and you are part of the committee, it's something that you just communicate. Just a matter of communication, I don't care if they got it or not. My point is, it shouldn't be something that's in the grapevine as a rumor. I should have known, or the coordinator should have known, and then they would communicate it down the line. But we did come to a consensus to whether Hagley was having its own reunion committee as opposed to being a part of the reunion, and that was cleared up.
So tell us, how old is before we arrive to the end? How old is the new village council team?
How old?
How old are you from since you have been elected?
How old is the council? Well, I think.
I mean, I'm not talking to referring to the
people. You don't
I'm
refer to the council.
I'm referring to the recent election. How long since you all have been elected?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, our tenure is ending this year. The council is to be dissolved sometime in July.
So, are you going to contact?
Elections-
Are you going to still
elections.
take part?
Well, I'm contesting on a bigger scale right now. so
No, but if you're not
I'm gonna
successful
be-
on in the elections, what?
Well, the elections for the village council is gonna happen sometime in August this year.
Okay.
So I mean, if unless the prime minister says that elections is in May or June or July, anytime before that, then if it's anytime after that, then I'm gonna continue until I see what comes out of this.
What are you going to do if you're not elected in this coming general elections?
Well,
Are you, because we tend to see people taking part in election when they're not successful, they
Yeah.
just disappear in thin air.
Well, I mean, I already had plans of my own regarding studying and regarding particular things. If I am elected, then I will continue my studies either way, elected or not. I will seek to continue my studies and do what it is that I have to do to educate myself. On that sense. The only difference is if I am elected, then it means that I have to remain here and do what I have to do. Then it's more at least for me to continue my studies with a distance learning program. You understand? Which is what I was initially looking at. If I'm not elected, it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. Remember, I'm pushing PCD. You understand? Where PCD is pushing me as an independent candidate, but I myself, I'm a supporter of PCD. You understand? And PCD's motives.
Okay.
So I am working with PCD, and we are going to put together our efforts whether I'm elected or not, because PCD is not there solely for Nept. PCD
Okay.
is there for Grand Bay.
Okay.
So this is one of the areas where I will continue to work,
Okay.
and I will continue to push for the community in that
Okay.
level.
Oh, lovely. Okay. So, Nep, what else would you like to say to our listeners?
Well, I just want to send back the probe out there that I am ready to debate. And I mean, the United Workers' Party can just set it up for myself and Mr. James Alexander to debate on and whatever issue it is that we need to debate. But mainly, we're looking at developmental plans and programs for the community of Grand Bay and the Grand Bay constituency. I mean, whereas we may not get the DLP candidate to come in, we can do a debate between myself and James Alexander, and see where the people stand pertaining to who they may see fit as the best candidate, and I'm down for that. That is something that I am down for a fact, and I'm ready for that anytime.
So, are you saying a debate that is going to happen in the town hall? Is it going to be live, or would you?
I either way is not a problem for me.
Okay.
It can be live, it can be,
The town hall.
and I would prefer it to be live, where people, because it's the people's,
Yeah,
the
people who are unable to
views.
people who are unable to come will listen, and
Will
especially
listen,
in the
will
diaspora,
listen. Exactly.
and they
I-
will able to know if Nep deserves
Exactly.
the chance
Let
to
the-
represent us.
Let the people choose. Let the
Yeah.
people see. And I mean, it's something that has to be done on an unbiased level. You understand me? And I mean, like you asked a question earlier on whether if Grand Bay is still a labor powerhouse. You hear things like people saying they're not satisfied with the current parliament, but then you also hear them saying, "I'm not going to vote for the United Workers' Party." You understand? You hear a lot of things like that. You hear people saying, "You know what? I'm just not going to vote because I'm not seeing anybody." And that was before I came into the picture. Now that I'm in the picture, these people are saying, "I support you." These people are saying, "You know what? Just because I myself am a Liberite, I'm a Liberite, but I'll not vote for Justina. But I will not vote for the United Workers' Party. So you have my support." So what about these people?
So how are you going to be really certain that what the people are saying is true? When they say to you they will not vote for Justina, they will vote to you. I can recall, it's not a story.
No.
There was a guy who took part in political election in Guadeloupe, and he went all over the constituency asking people to support. And what he used to do is take the names and the amount of people who says that they are supportive to him. So he collected over 1,700 names who said that they are supportive to him. So he did not win, but he could have won with all of his votes at the first round, because they have second and third round according to the percentage. You can win at one glance, but if it's not, you can have another round. So he had that 1,700 people that said that would, so automatically he would be the winner at the very beginning. So when he came, he said, "Thank you to the 1,700 people who said they would vote for me, and thank you for the 3 people who voted for me." So how do you go in knowing what the people are saying? How do you see that? How do you really? Is it just because you're optimistic? You just you tend to believe that you're naive in accepting people's. How do you feel what they're saying is genuine?
Okay, well, let me. I mean, we can see it for the past 20 years. Grand Bay has been labor and labor from after Pierre Charles, from after the downfall of Freedom Party in the constituency, and I mean from after that, the United Workers' Party has been under an onslaught and have never won in Grand Bay. We have a legacy of that, You see me? And they're still, and whether the people are disgruntled or not, that legacy has not changed, and that is why the Labour Party feel that they're so confident that they must win in Granby. We have that legacy behind them. How, I would like to pose that question to Mr. James Alexander and the United Workers' Party. How certain are they? How confident are they? The same question that you're posing at me, that if they go head to head with the Labour Party in Granby, how certain or confident are they that they will win? I am confident that if I am to go head to head with Justina, David versus Goliath, I will win. Or I have a better possibility at winning than UWP. Because of just that legacy, that stain of DLP in Granby. I mean, we can see that clearly. We can see that clearly. And it all boils down again. That's why I mentioned we are in a strategic situation right now to flow with an independent candidacy. Yeah, to flow with an independent candidacy. The idea of workers versus labor, the versus element need to be reduced to a united element, and the only thing that can, the only element that can bring that form into play, that form into the fore, is an independent candidacy, where you can pull supporters from both sides of the spectrum. You understand me? And to me, that's how I see it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that sees it that way. I've asked many people who are adamant supporters of the United Workers' Party as well. Do they believe that they can win head to head with the DLP candidate in Granby? And majority of them, or should I say, all that I spoke to, they're not that confident. You understand? Which is why I will go again and say that I see myself as the best candidate.
Okay.
And not that I'm blowing my horn, but in it regarding strategy right now, I see myself as the best candidate, the best influential candidate right now, to dethrone the Labour Party in Granby. You understand me? So, like again, I will say, I mean, let's bring the debate going. I mean, I'm ready to bring my ideas to the community in whatever forum. I mean, we're using Facebook right now at the moment, but I see people on the ground. I speak to people on the ground. I may not have how can I say it, pushed aggressively on the ground yet as I'm pushing on Facebook, but be minded. Don't let that fool you. Don't think that I'm not on the ground at all. You understand me? I'm making a lot of push and efforts on the ground, because people, I meet people all the time. I speak to people all the time, and specifically those within my generation, and as well as some of the more elderly persons who come to me and speak to me in private. You understand me? See me on the streets and speak to me in private. You know, and I mean, some of them have even mentioned to me that, hey, you know what, boss, I see you as the best person for Granby right now. And I mean, I'm not speaking naively, where I'm just gonna listen to people and just agree with everything they say. But who am I not to just listen? I mean, at this point, that's what you can do. You're not in the booth when they're putting the X on their ballot. You understand me? So all you can do is do your best, show the people what you can do, bring your ideas to the fore. You know, and create the necessary environment where the people see you as the best suited candidate to represent them on that level. And this is where I stand right now. Either way, I still see myself as the best candidate strategically to push the community forward. And I mean, like I mentioned, I am willing to lobby, and I say that frankly. I am willing to lobby, because I am not satisfied with the level of development in my community for the past 20 years. And I mean, this gentleman is adamant at saying give Justin another chance, but I believe 5 years is enough to make to push something substantial, and I have not seen anything substantial. You know, I mean, why couldn't they have pushed for the road? 2 years into Justina's represent how can I say it, leadership. You understand me? Why is it now specifically a year or when we are on the eve of the next general elections that they're pushing the road project? You understand me? What is that? Is that political mileage? You know, I mean, is that something to have that fresh in the people's mind that she's working? So it's only now she's working then. So for the past 3-4 years before, where the working? Where's the work? You understand me? So this is why I'm speaking to it in that manner. We need to understand what and how we perceive development. You understand me? And that is why I like speaking with the older people. You know, don't mind me. I like speaking with the older people because you find that the way that we view things as younger persons right now, in all the technology and everything, still the older folks are so in the simplicity of it. They're very knowledgeable. You understand? They're very knowledgeable. So I always find myself speaking with the older people on different levels, you know, and communicating with them. So, like I say, bring it on, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for the long haul.
We probably have a final call. Let us see.
Right.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hey, good evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And how are you?
We are fine.
Yeah, and I just want to say I encourage. I'm proud of the guy. Courage and bravery and determination.
Yeah. Speak for your
Thank you,
phone.
sir.
Speak
Thank
for
you,
your
sir.
phone.
Yes. I was saying I am happy for his bravery and his courage and determination.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And I'm enjoying his talks, and I'm enjoying the program so far. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
man.
you, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Listening all day in Warner.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
man. All right.
Cool.
Warner, big up to Warner, man.
Yeah. So okay, Nep, we are about to leave the radio, as I'm going to ask Charles to help me with the Audacity on the other side.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, Charles. No, it was a pleasure having you, and we look forward to talking with you in the future.
Right.
It's my I'm trying to see if I can have a little chat with the PAL rep, and also see if I can speak to Mr. James as well.
Of course.
And if all they give me the privilege to have a chat with them, I'll be extremely happy. So I've been trying to meet the PAL rep, but it's not easy. I've called Mr. James as well. That's not been easy to fall on them because it seems to me they're very busy these days. But Nep, it was so easy to meet you. And I hope when you become PAL rep, I'll just press that same button and get in touch with you as quick as I am.
Of course, I will be like Facebook. Log in and you can interact with me.
Yes.
Log in and you can interact with me.
Okay then.
But just before we close, I wanna just read something quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is gonna be one of my main areas of focus, as I mentioned, because there's a lot of job creation that can be derived from that.
Okay.
And let me just say, and I posted it on Facebook not too long ago.
Okay.
I see Dominica being promoted as the nature isle of the world, and we are in a strategic position to push towards the green economy initiative. This is an industry which will explode in the next 10 to 15 years, and we should begin the transformation of our economy now. Man, I think your mic is on.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
And this is an industry which will explode in the next 10 to 15 years, and we should begin the transformation of our economy now. The geothermal project is one of a particular nature. One can see the benefits if they simply do some research. However, the current explorations taking place in Dominica need to be reviewed, namely the location, tangible, factual, and transparent research, the right technologies, and the proper market needs to be reviewed. I do not see this project coming on stream anytime soon. This may well take another 10 years before we can properly harness this renewable energy. The time frame is okay. That is the 10 years. Once we do it properly and effectively and take all the necessary steps to ensure that the cons are well accounted for and planned for in the overall strategy, there are other technologies which can be ventured into, which has a much stronger which has a much shorter time span regarding implementation and use in our daily lives. Solar energy, water management techniques, biofuels, recycling and reusing are one of the main areas. Dominica is beginning to experience some serious waste management issues, and I truly believe that recycling and reusing specific waste elements can bring a viable industry and economic benefits to the country. And also the biodegradable waste through composting techniques can be reused as well in another form, biofuel or biogas. These are all eco-friendly and also economically inclined if harnessed properly. Dominica is the land of the sun. Solar energy initiatives could cut power cost by at least 30% for the entire populace, whether it's through solar farms placed at strategic points and connected to the electric grid, or allowing people to use the technology by direct connections to their homes or businesses and use them at strategic periods in the month, week, etc. If we are looking at cutting costs in the economy while being able to produce and generate revenue, increase the flow of cash, going green is one of the quickest ways to turn this over. Which is why this is one of the ideas and projects that PCD and myself will be embarking on in South City, in the South City initiative. The first of this is a project geared towards recycling and reusing pallets, tires, plastic spoons, forks, etc. into creative and economically viable products. The target is youth within the age range 18 to 35. Reason for this being they are of legal age to form part of the country's labor force, and this is where the highest levels of unemployment lies. We are aiming to make this a viable industry in the community and also unique to South City. That's the project that I mentioned earlier, ManI, regarding the reusing and recycling of specific items, waste items that can be reused, to form viable economical products. And this project is already written, as I mentioned, and we're trying to send it into a donor agency to receive the funds. The first phase of that will be get towards the training of at least the target is 35 young people within the age range of 18 to 35, and get them to explore their creativity and do those things regarding the structuring and building of certain products and items that can be resold. The second thing is to bring it into the market, and we're looking at particular niche markets, like for example the eco lodges and outdoor initiatives. Firstly, before we go into the furniture market, which is where people buy furniture to put into their homes and their businesses, etc. Once this skill is developed by the young people and they can comfortably produce those items, then we're looking to mass produce, in time. So we just putting the mechanisms in place. The project is already written. We're just fine-tuning it, and we have a targeted donor agency that we're going to send the project to see how we can acquire some funds for now. So I just wanted to leave the people with that in mind. Yeah.
Okay, Nept, thank you for coming.
Sure.
And we want to tell you any other time we will call on you for additional discussions based on your political business. Okay? Thank you very much.
You're welcome, man. I want to give a big shout out to the PCD Atlanta group. I know you guys are listening right now. Sonson, Fiona, Glenn, Simpson, and to all my supporters out there. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the support and representation for all. Nept Packet. The time is now.
Ensemble nous prend bateau, ensemble nous traverser, ensemble nous débarquer, les frères vont nous aider ensemble. Ensemble nous prend bateau, ensemble nous traverser, ensemble nous débarquer, les frères vont nous aider ensemble.
Nous travaillons pour rien, en con, nous pas t'es qu'à chauffer, qu'à bonne, c'était coup de fouette pour des faire automne, en bas soleil t'es qu'à bonne. Mettre la tête à crier, fouette la tête à tailler, cœur nous tête à saigner. Ensemble, 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 wow.
Ensemble nous prend bateau, ensemble nous traverser, ensemble nous débarquer, les frères vont nous aider ensemble.
Un jour nous réfléchis et comprendre que nous peut pas arrêter, attendre, nous traverser toute chance ignoble pour voler à dans grand savane. Yo voyez chien pour nous, yo t'es qu'on loup-garou, et nous t'es qu'à trembler.
Ensemble, 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 ensemble nous prend bateau, ensemble nous traverser, ensemble nous débarquer, les frères vont nous aider ensemble.
Écoutez, dans boussole des